of U.S. personnel had no impact on the war and that they continue to enjoy extensive American support for their bombing campaign against northern Yemen. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports it would appear the improbable candidacy of butt stuff does not have the right stuff, according to the Federal Elections Commission. The commission, which oversees candidate filings for federal elections, is cracking down on obvious prank filings, such as D's Nuts, the creation of a 15-year-old Iowa boy. The FEC said in a press release on Friday, the commission has authorized staff to send verification letters to filers listing fictional characters, obscene language, sexual references, celebrities where there is no indication that the named celebrity submitted the filing, animals, or similarly implausible entries as the name or contact information of the candidate or committee. Politico reports that in addition to Butt Stuff and D's Nuts, the FEC has received filings on behalf of a cat, Limberbutt McCubbins, and Master Alexander Soy Sauce and Tater Gourd First. Individuals caught making fraudulent election filings are subject to a fine under FEC rules. During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. He explains, "We aim to show the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that power corrupts absolutely and corrupt authority deserves no obedience." Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports the U.S. Army's finances are so jumbled it had to make trillions of dollars of improper accounting adjustments to create an illusion that its books are balanced. The Defense Department's Inspector General in a June report said the Army made $2.8 trillion in wrongful adjustments to accounting entries in one quarter alone in 2015 and $6.5 trillion for the year. Yet the Army lacked receipts and invoices to support those numbers or simply made them up. As a result, the Army's financial statement for 2015 were materially misstated, according to the report. The forced adjustments rendered the statements useless because DoD and Army managers could not rely on the data in their accounting systems when making management and resource decisions. Disclosure of the Army's manipulation of numbers is the latest example of the severe accounting problems plagued by the Defense Department for decades. This report affirms a 2013 Reuters series revealing how the Department of Defense falsified accounting on a large scale as it scrambled to close its books. As a result, there has been no way of knowing how the Defense Department spends the public's money. The new report focused on the Army's General Fund, the bigger of its two main accounts, with assets of $282.6 billion in 2015. The Army lost or did not keep required data, and much of the data it had was inaccurate, according to the Inspector General. Both major party presidential candidates have called for increased defense spending amid current global tensions. An accurate accounting could reveal deeper problems in how the Defense Department spends its money. Its 2016 budget is $573 billion, more than half of the annual discretionary spending budget appropriated by Congress. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
While waiting to interview for a web consultant position with local marketing firm Bizco, applicant Ryan Ehrlich told Onion reporters he wasn't entirely sure he was dynamic enough for his prospective employer.
When I first saw that the agency was looking for a leader willing to contribute as a valued member of the team, I thought it was the perfect fit. But the more I think about it, the less I'm sure I'm actually an energetic self-starter. I mean, I think I'm a versatile independent thinker, but honestly, how do you even know for sure?
Ehrlich, who found Bizco's online job posting earlier this week, went on to express doubts that he truly possesses the forward-thinking instincts and next-generation idea assets required to work with the fast-paced marketing firm's team of self-starters.
Can I reimagine a brand for a digital landscape? Sure, but do I really have the energy, skills, enthusiasm, and passion to be a part of this dynamic, growth-oriented company? I just don't know. Oh God, who am I kidding? There's no way I'm on the cutting edge.
This is the Onion News Network. Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us right here. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype username is LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
You know, Mark, we've been doing this show for a long time.
Yeah.
And, we're big advocates of freedom of speech. I mean, of course we are. We're on talk radio. I would hope that most people on talk radio are at the very least advocates of that. We're also
most people are advocates of speech that they agree with.
Most people, yeah. But I think there's a lot of people in the talk radio business that generally agree with freedom of speech. They understand that if you oppress someone's speech, if you advocate for the oppression of someone's speech, that could mean that that very same force that is used to oppress that speech could turn around and turn against your speech someday. People that understand freedom of speech understand that it's the offensive speech that needs to be protected. You don't need to protect popular speech because it's popular. You don't have to worry about that. It's the stuff that can upset people. It's not just the words, but speech can also be symbolism. You know, like a flag, for instance, that is in your front yard on a flagpole. That's your way of expressing yourself. Now, a flag isn't a particularly good way of expressing oneself.
Because it doesn't always say the flag means lots of different things to lots of different people.
Right. I mean, so to some extent it is a piece of art in that way, and that it is going to resonate differently with whoever it is that looks at it. Some people might look at it and their heart will swoon. Others might look at it and they'll feel angry, and everything in between. Well,
what we've seen instances where homeowners associations have rules against having flags of any sort out in front of your house, whether the flag says welcome, whether it's a Soviet Union flag, whether it's a flag of Botswana, or whether it's a U.S. flag. They've just got rules against flags. And then oftentimes there will be news stories about somebody moved into some home deed restricted community with homeowners association. They decided that they needed to put up a flag, and this is America, and we should be able to have flags in our place no matter what your contract says. Flags, right? And there'll always be a news story because that's the kind of thing that gets people to read. So you'll have people rallying to the side of somebody who's ostensibly, seemingly, supposedly signed a contract that says they won't put flags out in front of their house, and now they're going to do that. They're going to break the contract. So in that case, I'm for the homeowners association, right?
Right, because it's an existing agreement that you will or will not do certain things, and you should abide by your agreements. It's private property rights trump that. So when you look at the idea of freedom of speech, private property rights trump freedom of speech. Because if you're on my property, I can decide what it is that I want to have happen on my property. And similarly, this radio show exists in the same way, in that we'll let you call in about anything you want, but if you say the F word, we've got to hit the dump button. We got to get rid of you because there's certain rules that have to apply to this particular venue. Same thing with the movie theater, the classic example of, well, what? You can't yell fire in a crowded theater? What about free speech? Well, movie theater is private property, and they asked you to be quiet. And unless there actually is a fire, then you're violating the rules of being quiet in the theater, and so they've got the right to throw you out. But when it comes to your property and speech, you should be able to express yourself however you want on your property, given that there's not some, deed restriction overhanging you that you've agreed to. If you want to paint something on your property, on your fence or whatever, if you want to paint your house a certain color, if you want to put a flag up, you should be able to do that. Now, sometimes when we talk about these issues, we'll hear from callers who will say they'll be from the military, and they'll say, oh, how dare you? Like, for instance, I'll defend someone's right to burn a flag. I've defended that as your right. If it's your flag, you can't burn someone else's flag without their permission.
I think, again, just as the flag is not particularly good communication, I don't think burning the flag is at all good communication.
Right, but I'll still defend your right to do it. And so sometimes we'll get some angry, ex-military guys on the phone.
It's not always ex-military. I mean, we have people on the show that are veterans, and obviously they would defend people's rights to do that.
Right. And, the idea is that, well, we've fought for your freedoms, but you shouldn't do that. Well, now we've got a story about a military guy, a veteran of the U.S. Army, who didn't burn a flag, but he flew it upside down. And you know what he was given for his effort at trying to express himself? Because generally when you fly a flag upside down, it's a signal of distress, is my understanding. What did he get for his efforts? He got arrested. Story from photographyisnotacrime.com. U.S. Army veteran in Somers, Iowa, was arrested and charged with desecrating the United States flag after hanging it upside down and underneath the Chinese flag. So a little bit of extra symbolism there.
It sounds like he's trying to communicate that the United States is under just duress because of its all of the debt that it has to the Chinese government.
That's what I would guess from that. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
actually relatively good communication.
It apparently was in protest of an oil pipeline being built without his permission next to a water well that supplies water to his home.
No, I can see why he would be upset. If it's not his property, though, that's something for the courts.
The pipeline is being built against his wishes after eminent domain was granted to a Texas company that's building the pipeline. Well, maybe it was his property before, and then it was taken through eminent domain, that's stealing. You know, whenever eminent domain happens, that's the government stealing your land so they can give it to some private company or use it for their own governmental purposes. And it's absolutely outrageous when it happens, and I totally feel for anybody that's had their property just jacked from them like this. The pipeline, again, being built by a Texas company. Around 11 a.m. on August 11th, 2 Calhoun County Sheriff's deputies arrested Homer Martz as they arrived at his home. He said one deputy was carrying his 2 flags as he approached his home. They said, "You can't do this. We have a statute." And I said,
we have a constitution, and your statute means F all. This is bullcrap, and these 2 officers need to spend a few nights in the county jail for this. And whoever sent them out, if they had anything to do with this, frankly, anybody who's associated with this, from the legislators who passed it to the officers who enforced it, need to spend a little time in jail, and then maybe they'll understand what the law of the land is.
Yeah,
the United States Supreme Court has been very, very clear on this issue.
Well, this is a misdemeanor, so he may be looking at up to 30 days in jail instead of the people who arrested him.
Well, he won't be, but...
Wait, you don't think he's going to spend time in jail over this?
No, this story is going to get too many legs from a national standpoint, and they'll drop the charges, would be my guess.
I hope you're right about that. Certainly, he should be able to defeat these charges, even if they don't drop them, because this is clearly an unconstitutional statute here. And this is Iowa state law. This isn't some local ordinance. This is the law of the land in Iowa, supposedly. So he tells the officers, or they tell him, "You can't do this. We have a statute." He says, "I'm sorry, but you should not have taken them down." So I walked out and put them back up, and then they arrested me. That's the kind of civil disobedience I got respect for, man. Right in front of the cops, just puts them right back up.
That's his house.
Yep.
These people are trespassing. This is beyond the pale.
Well, they have a secondary excuse, Mark. Deputies told Mr. Martz that his flagpole that sits at the end of his driveway was in the Calhoun County's right-of-way.
Oh, yeah.
Calhoun County Attorney Tina Meth Farrington says that Iowa's flag desecration law is a simple misdemeanor punishable by up to 30 days in jail. Iowa Code 718A states it's a misdemeanor to, quote, publicly mutilate, deface, defile, or defy, trample upon, cast contempt upon, satirize, to deride or burlesque, either by words or act, such flag, standard, color, ensign, shield, or other insignia of the United States, and several other things, according to Photography is Not a Crime.
That's ridiculous.
That's misdemeanor.
Not America.
Right.
Okay, so one thing that we all need to, let's get on the same page here, make sure that we're clear. The United States was put together by a bunch of rebels over a course of more than 100 years. There wasn't one revolution, as in the Revolutionary War. There was revolution after revolution after revolution that occurred inside the United States. Don't ask me why this stuff didn't happen in Canada. I can't tell you. But for whatever reason, the kind of people that moved to the area now known as the United States were revolutionaries. They just couldn't handle the yoke of England, and they bucked all the time. How did the rulers handle that? They had oaths. Oaths that they made people swear
Hold that
to.
thought. 855-450-FREE. Join us.
If you or someone you love is suffering from hearing loss, please stay tuned for a special free offer from the makers of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit the ear almost invisibly, and it can be adjusted to find the perfect way to hear everything in every listening environment. Right now, we're offering absolutely free in-home trials to everyone who calls now. 1-800-721-9369. Call in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also receive free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is lightweight and practically invisible, so people won't notice when you're wearing it. So again, if you or someone you love is suffering from hearing loss, please give them or yourself this life-changing 100% free in-home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-721-9369. That's 1-800-721-9369. 1-800-721-9369.
Hello?
Congratulations.
For what?
For losing all that weight. How'd you do it so fast?
ASAP.
ASAP what? What's that mean?
Are you ready to get as skinny as possible, as soon as possible, as simple as possible, and as sexy as possible?
I'm listening.
Then get with the ASAP program. It's real and it works. No smooth talk, no slick advertising, and no exaggerated claims of success.
I've got to know more.
Welcome to ASAP, as slim as possible. Whether you have 10, 20, or 50 pounds to lose, ASAP is your weight loss answer. ASAP targets the abnormal fat reserves and makes them available to be burned as fuel and contains no caffeine or hormones. Order ASAP at wholesale prices or join the team to share the business with others. Visit GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Lose weight and look great with ASAP, as slim as possible.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, but I'd really like to know if there's anybody out there in our audience tonight that supports Iowa's misdemeanor law against so-called, well, not just desecration of the flag, but mutilation, defacing, defiling, or defying, trampling upon, casting contempt upon, satirizing, deriding, or burlesque, either by words or act, such flag, standard color, ensign, shield, or other insignia of the United States. So this isn't just a ban on burning a flag. This is anything that has the insignia of the United States, anything that has the color This is the most insane anti-flag burning / mutilation law I've ever seen. You can't satirize the flag in the state of Iowa. So they've arrested an Army veteran for having the flag, the United States flag, flying upside down and underneath the Chinese flag. Now, by the flag code, that's a violation of, the way you're supposed to have the American flag. It's always supposed to be higher up than all the other countries' flags. It's not supposed to be flown upside down. So this guy was doing it as a political statement, as a statement about, what he believed. And the police came along and arrested him for it. We'll tell you more about the story here, but if you support the arrest of this man, I would really like to hear from you. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And I also want you to know about the challenge to Bernie Sanders. That is still in play, and Bernie still has not yet responded to this challenge because I guess he just doesn't care about charities. He could get $250,000 worth of Bitcoin donated to the charity of his choice. All he has to do is agree to a 3-hour-long debate with Adam Kokesh. Adam Kokesh is a voluntarist. He's somebody who believes in liberty, and so it would be a debate of socialism versus voluntarism. And I think it would be awesome if that could happen. Unfortunately, Bernie is ignoring the invitation thus far. Now, if you want to learn more about this invite, it's going to be on the table at least through the end of this month, so another 10 days or so. Bernie.freetalklive.com is where you can go to learn more about it. Bernie.freetalklive.com. It's supposed to be a 3-hour-long debate where Bernie gets to choose the location, which city it happens. Bernie can choose the objective moderator, and if he completes the 3-hour debate in which both men have equal time, $250,000 worth of Bitcoin will be donated to the charity of Bernie's choice. Adam Kokesh will get $50,000 worth of Bitcoin to the charity of his choice, and so far, nothing from Bernie Sanders.
I'd love to hear this because I'm of the opinion that socialism is a system that doesn't work. Or it doesn't work well. I mean, it works, right? Like we can see socialism all around the world working, but I believe it works poorly. It doesn't work as well as free market economics. And I'd love to see a debate based on that, especially from the standard bearer of socialism these days in the United States.
Right. So check out more at bernie.freetalklive.com as we're going to your calls and thoughts. We'll tell you more about this ridiculous Iowa law. It's 718A that makes it a misdemeanor not just to burn the flag, but to even satirize it. To not just the flag, but any insignia of the United States. Now U.S. Army veterans facing 30 days in jail for flying it upside down underneath the Chinese flag. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Rick is up first, listening in Indianapolis to WIBC. Hello, Rick.
Hello.
Hey there. What's on your mind?
I absolutely agree with the Iowa law. I am a former Marine, but the fact that I am a former Marine has nothing to do with the way I feel. The fact is I think that if a person desecrates any symbol of the United States, it should be a law of the land that it should be a criminal act. I don't even think it should be a misdemeanor. I think it should be a felony.
Felony? Wow, are you for real?
Absolutely.
You for real?
I am absolutely
so
for real.
Screw freedom of speech, huh?
If you cannot pledge allegiance to a symbol of this United States, if you can't honor what this United States stands for, why are you here?
Well, let me ask you this: Are you aware of anything about the Pledge of Allegiance? I mean, like who wrote it and what their thoughts and beliefs were?
I do.
Okay, what is it? Tell me who wrote the Pledge of Allegiance.
You have me all worked up. I'm sorry.
Francis Bellamy, and he's a nationalist, national socialist.
Would you like me to recite the Pledge of Allegiance?
No, I'm very familiar with the Pledge of Allegiance. It was written by a National Socialist who was a flag salesman, and I get why it was there, to sell flags, and because this person is if the original salute to the flag looked remarkably like the Nazi salute, they changed it because of the Nazis got so popular and that sort of thing, and they didn't want to be associated with that. But many of the beliefs of the National Socialists were very similar. I've got to say the Pledge of Allegiance is a disturbing thing in a nation who had revolutions over oaths and affirmations. I mean, that's what part of the Revolutionary War was that these rulers were making people swear allegiance to them, and they didn't want to.
Well, again, I don't understand why a person would even want to be in the United States if they can't even give allegiance to the United States.
So was the United States, in your mind, all about the government, or was it about the freedoms that the people who founded it?
Yeah, but
it's about the people and the freedoms of the people.
Do people are people freer than they were 25 years ago?
No.
Okay.
And we never will be under a liberal government.
Fine. But you're pledging allegiance to it because it's the republic for which it stands. They don't say for the people for which it stands. They say the republic. The republic's a form of government, is it not?
It is.
Okay, excellent. So it sounds to me like you're a person who doesn't support the government.
Don't try to belittle me by giggling like a little girl.
Who's this? What?
Oh, I'm quite amused by you, Rick. I'm sorry. You're sad, man. I mean, you believe supposedly in freedoms, but here you are saying you want people put in prison for doing what they want with their own property. Isn't that what you just told us?
A lot of people in this country have given their life, sacrificed their life for your freedom to think you have the right to desecrate any symbol of the United States.
So because some people went and they died in the service of politicians, no one should be able to do with what they want with their property because it might hurt someone's feelings?
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to let you go, but I guarantee you I'll never tune into your radio station.
Bye-bye. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Oh, he's got his feelings hurt. So let's put everyone in prison for a felony charge because they took their own flag and did what they wanted with it. This guy's a U.S. I mean, it's a perfect story. He's a veteran of the U.S. military, this guy. Now he's facing 30 days, not the last caller, but the person we're talking about in this news story from Iowa, facing 30 days in jail because he flew a flag upside down underneath the Chinese flag. And this guy thinks he should be going to prison for that.
Well, I obviously believe that Rick was wrong. But I got to say, this is the indoctrination, right? The indoctrination is, hey, red, white, and blue, FA-18s flying over the Super Bowl. I get why people believe this stuff, Ian, and I think that I think it's possible for you to take a softer hand in dealing with people who have not yet shed this this particular allegiance that we're talking about. And by allegiance, I mean the allegiance to the government, because the Pledge of Allegiance and all this flag worship.
It's not an allegiance to freedom. It's not an allegiance to property rights and your ability to express yourself.
It's not truth. It's not justice. It's not the American way.
The toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Teens radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to agoristhosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST hosting.com.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers, not a mega corporation. As a driver with Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for or ride with Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and has been making headlines for disrupting the ride-sharing industry. Sign up now at arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live Saturday edition of the program. Got an absolutely outrageous story we're talking about from photographyisnotacrime.com. about a former military guy, a U.S. Army veteran in Somers, Iowa. He's been arrested and charged with desecrating the United States flag after he hung it upside down under a Chinese flag. We can tell you more about the story here, the ridiculous statute in Iowa that makes it a misdemeanor to do that to the flag and do other things, including satirize it. I mean, satirizing it? That means like what? Drawing a cartoon that makes fun of the flag? That would be a misdemeanor in Iowa as well? So you can join us here, 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number, 855-450-3733. Also, Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. Bitcoin.com is your premier source for everything Bitcoin related. You can get help buying Bitcoins or choosing a Bitcoin wallet, read the latest news, or engage with the community on the Bitcoin forum. You can find places to spend your Bitcoin or play online games with the cryptocurrency. It's the source for all of your Bitcoin needs and news. It's Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. As we continue here, we'll go to your calls and thoughts. I'd asked for somebody to call in who supports what's happening to this guy.
Got it.
And I got it. The first guy out of the gate, he says he thinks it's not good enough that it's a misdemeanor. He thinks it should be a felony because freedom. Let's go to Shannon. She's in Virginia listening to WNIS. Hi, Shannon.
Hi.
Hey there.
I was calling. I don't know if you'll like what I say about the last caller. I think the subject isn't as superficial as it's coming across because I do believe in free speech, but you also made a reference to the man, Francis Bell, I think it is, that wrote the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep, Francis Bellamy wrote the Pledge of Allegiance, yeah.
Okay, and the government was formed supposedly for the people, by the people. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Nope, sure doesn't.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. So I see what you're saying. Somebody should have free speech in whatever aspect they choose, as long as they're not hurting anybody else. But I also see that the original intent of the formation of the government and the Federalist Papers and all that included, it was supposed to be, like I say, for the people, by the people. It just doesn't work that way in reality. So I can see where somebody would want to express themselves if they're trying to make a statement that, we're in debt up to our eyes with China.
That's what I see.
Yeah, but on the other side of it, I also see if there's not any cohesiveness to a country or to a common purpose, and I'm not saying that I think, that should be a felony, but I can also, like I heard you say something about, whoever was involved with it, they ought to spend some time in jail. Yeah. Unfortunately, because of the system that we have, if that law was written and it's a valid law, and I'm not trying to make it like it was no big deal to arrest, but these are the laws that we get until we get people in there to change them.
Well, these are the laws we get until we get a better constitution. And this is one of the things that I used to be big flag guy, but then I came to a conclusion that the fundamentally the system was flawed, and fundamentally it was set up so that the wealthy and the powerful can rule over those that aren't. And here's why. Yeah. Because if the Constitution had teeth, if it said, for instance, I don't know, any legislator who violates these laws or attempts to violate these laws shall have their head chopped off on the White House lawn at noon on the next day, then, maybe you wouldn't have many of them violating it. But we find people doing unconstitutional things all the time that work for the government. And there's nothing that ever happens to them.
Right.
The fact is that hanging a flag underneath, upside down on their property, underneath the Chinese flag, is fully within the rights that they have as prescribed by the Supreme Court.
It should be, but in order for this guy to actually have his right to express himself with a flag restored, he's going to have to hire an attorney. He's going to have to take this to court. He's going to have to be victorious and probably, suffer through whatever number of appeals the state would like to have him suffer through. So however many tens of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees we're talking about here. And then, maybe after a number of years, this particular ordinance, or rather the statute in Iowa, will be overturned, and hooray, now that bad law is off the books after this man has been arrested and has had to go through the ridiculous court system. And that's presuming that, the judges rule in his favor, which they should. And then once that happens, if this thing gets overturned, what you're pointing out, Mark, is that not a single one of these legislators who passed this law, how many hundreds of them there are.
If he makes $1 million, you and I pay for it. The cops that went and took his flags down, they're not going to get anything.
Shannon, thanks for sharing your thoughts tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Let's talk to Chuck. He's in Indiana listening to WIBC. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. I would like to say that I think that, truly there's etiquette to the flag, and hanging the flag upside down is not against etiquette. It would declare that you're in distress.
Right.
So I would agree with this gentleman that hung his flag upside down underneath the Chinese Communist flag, that in fact our country is in distress, held captive by the government of the Chinese. So I could read into what he's saying,
for sure,
and not find any problem with what he said, period.
Well, even though it may violate the etiquette of you're not supposed to hang the flag underneath another country's flag, but that's just etiquette. That's just etiquette.
That's by Iowa law. You're saying that's in an Iowa statute. A federal statute, you wouldn't find a problem with what he's done. So I would put out there, I'm against flag burning unless it touches the ground or unless it's been tattered. The only way to get rid of a flag is to burn it. However, I don't believe in people that just go out and burn a flag in protest.
I think they should
be legal, though.
I think they should be able to. I just don't think it's a good idea.
I don't like it. I don't want to. As a matter of fact, I might try to stop you if you were doing it in front of me. But I don't necessarily think you should be jailed for it.
I'm with you, Chuck.
I don't think that like I said, make no mistake. I might try to take the lighter out of your hand, and tell you exactly why I believe you're doing the wrong thing. But I don't.
Now, of course, that would be stealing to deprive someone of.
He's willing to take the consequences of his actions.
Sure. Now, I don't support that. I would likely grab a video camera and record it instead.
What you should do is get a camera and record those people, and then put it up on your Facebook page.
Thanks, Chuck, for your call.
I always say this: don't say you want another constitution. We have a perfect Constitution. We just need to follow it. Those people that you said that are legislators, those people can be censured. Those people can be impeached.
But that would require them, right? That would require them to do that to themselves.
No, it would require the backbone of the populace to force those people to do their job.
Go take care of those dogs, Chuck. Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chuck. I don't entirely disagree with him, and I've had these conversations with myself over time. I guess I've come to the conclusion that trading one solitary vote at birth, mind you, I never got the option. They told me this is the deal. You get one solitary vote in every single election, and in exchange, we take 30 to 50% of your earnings, depending on how much you make, and you follow a whole bunch of laws that are victimless and ridiculous, and regulations that don't make any sense, and all the rules that they give you in exchange for one solitary useless vote. I mean, mind you, most of the people listening to me, their vote has never made a difference in any election that they've ever participated in.
Let's continue with your calls and thoughts. We got Matthew. He's on the line in Norfolk listening to WNIS. Hey, Matthew.
Hey, how you doing?
What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, well, I was just calling. I tuned in for just a moment and heard the gentleman talking about how it should be illegal to desecrate the flag and so on. And I was just a little bit concerned about that. I am a 20-year Navy veteran, retired, and those are the rights that I fought for. Now, whether I agree with what an individual does with his flag or not, it is his right to do that.
You nailed it.
But unfortunately, we live in a country today where if you do something that hurts a certain individual's sensibilities, you can be jailed for it.
Thanks, Matthew, for your call tonight, man. I appreciate it. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. I'll be on the ballot for president in all 50 states. If a Democrat is elected president, if a Republican is elected president, in 4 years, we will still be at war. America will be 4 years deeper in debt. We will have 4 more years of rising taxes, bigger government, crony capitalism instead of free markets, and less freedom. How do we know this? Because that's what both parties keep delivering. If you're an optimist, you know that one day America will have its act together. One day we won't be at war. One day taxes will be fair. One day our social and economic challenges will be conquered, not by force, but by cooperation and mutual respect. To the independent majority of Americans who feel as I do, I say, why wait one more day?
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. Have you ever wondered why farmers can keep their livestock lean and healthy just by feeding them minerals in a nutrient-dense diet? Before market, they cut off their minerals, leaving them to crave high-calorie grains to fatten them up. So if weight control is this easy, why does the medical system prescribe invasive surgical gastric bypass for humans? The truth be told, according to research, you can avoid over 900 different diseases just by getting 90 essential nutrients daily. Check us out on the web at sonsoflibertyteam.com and order your Healthy Start Pack and get your 90 for life. Or dial 855-301-TEAM. I said essential, not optional, and every day. Easy. 90 for life on the web at sonsoflibertyteam.com or call 855-301-TEAM. That's 855-301-TEAM. That's 855-301-TEAM. Check us out on the web at sonsoflibertyteam.com. At sonsoflibertyteam.com.
A new report from the Department of Health and Human Services urges Americans to do something, anything at all. According to the study, getting off your ass and doing any sort of physical or mental activity could have positive health effects.
Look, we're not expecting you to go to the gym. That's clearly not happening. Just walk outside for a few blocks and then come back home. you can bring potato chips if that's what it'll take.
For many years, the health department has encouraged Americans to watch less TV, but this report reverses that, saying, quote, watch whatever the hell you want, but at least pay attention and remember who the characters are, or just admire the colors. Colors are pretty. It's expected that following the advice in this report will cut down on the largest cause of death among Americans, laying on your back until your mouth fills up with saliva and you drown. Following the report's release, the most popular exercise now seems to be masturbating, but researchers warn that if you do it in public, stick to the sidewalk or you might get hit by cars.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday edition of the program. Is America really that different from China? As the Army veteran who's recently arrested in Iowa for having a U.S. flag hung upside down underneath the Chinese flag pointed out, he said, first of all, he didn't even know the law against it existed, but further he said, quote, if they'd asked me to take them down and showed me the statute, I would have taken them down, but in my book, they trespassed by taking the flags down. In China, there is no freedom, no protesting, no due process, he wrote on a sign posted in front of the flagpole. In Iowa, in America, well, apparently, you don't have the freedom to express yourself with a flag in Iowa if you're doing anything besides standard flag treatment etiquette. And now he's facing 30 days in jail over
You're
this.
free to follow all our laws.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. As we continue, we'll go to your calls and thoughts. Also, want to let you know about how you can support Free Talk Live. You can shop with us. Just go and get your shopping done through our links that you'll find at shop.freetalklive.com. There's links there to Amazon and Walmart. Most people go to the Amazon links because gets some really great deals that way. But then when you do that, Free Talk Live gets a cut of the purchase just because we sent them the business. So again, start your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com as we go to the phones and your calls and thoughts. We've got Ricky calling from Indianapolis, listening to WIBC. Hello, Ricky.
Actually, I'm listening to the live stream, but that's all right.
Okay.
Good
You're on
evening,
the air.
brothers.
What's going on?
Thank you.
You are on the air, sir. Go
Well,
ahead.
you know, I was listening to your I'm sorry. I was listening to your show tonight, and you talked about oaths, and I wanted to start out that way. You know, I took an oath. And, you know, I don't know about Brother Switchblade, you know, and any of that, but I know the oath I took. And I, first of all, start off, I took an oath to tell the truth and to uphold the law of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now, there's a reason why I say that, because you're talking about the law of the land. That was mentioned, too. And I think you know where I'm going with this, Mark.
I have no idea where you're going with this, but I'm not Mark.
Well, the law of the land. Well, I asked Mark, so... He said
Mark, do you know where he's going with this?
I don't know. I mentioned the Constitution. Maybe he's going to go hit that.
No, I mentioned about the oath I took when I was made a deputy on July 23rd of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I have jurisdiction. As Commonwealth law. Now, the land is the Commonwealth. That's first of all. And I had to, that was in there too. And the state. Now, the state governs over us. They're above us, say.
No, they can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I don't put other men above me. All men and women are on an equal plane as far as I'm concerned. Just the fact that they have their fancy house, with their fancy roof and their, fancy accoutrements or whatever, and their flags and everything, doesn't mean that they're more important than the rest of us. It doesn't mean that they're better than us. Just because someone voted for them doesn't mean they have the right to rule me. And further, this guy, this U.S. Army veteran facing 30 days in jail for simply expressing himself. It's an absolute outrage. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts here. We got Jose. He's in Alabama. You're on Free Talk Live listening to WDNG in Anniston. Hey, Jose.
Hello. Good evening. Thank you for all you do. I am a former veteran of the Vietnam War, voluntary straight through, 20 extended months of duty there. I served in the U.S. Army for 20 straight voluntary years. I'm a former paratrooper of the 82nd Airborne Division, and I would like to make a call to all veterans, members, active, reserve, National Guard. I don't care where you're at. Let's find out. Maybe you can tell us what town this happened at, and maybe we should organize and all go over there and have a parade and march with upside-down flags, with whatever flag you want to put on top of the upside-down American flag, because that is the heart of what we supposedly fight for. Freedom is what we're told, even though you and I and everybody else knows it's a political situation, false wars and all that. But a call out to anybody, especially nearby, to just go and join with this patriot. This is a real patriot. This man deserves our salute, okay, because of what he did and the way he's practicing his freedom of speech to convey his message about eminent domain and what's going on with China money here and so on. I salute that man. The jarhead, the first call you got, that jarhead does not deserve a salute or any respect from me. I attended a McGovern political rally right after I got back from Vietnam, and I married a Vietnamese gal, and I adopted an Mauritian child and brought her. And I'm at the Cow Palace in Daly City where McGovern is speaking, and somebody's flying a Viet Cong flag. Mind you, I've just come back from Vietnam. And I asked a police officer what would happen to me if I went over there and tore that flag down. And he said, I'm sorry, I would have to arrest you. Please don't do that. That is the freedom that you went to Vietnam to fight for. And that has sunk into my head. As much as I didn't like to see that flag flying, but I will respect anybody's right to do whatever they want with their flag, even though I may not agree with the act itself. I love freedom of speech in the United States.
I love your call, man.
Yeah,
It was
I
great.
love the call, too. I really never thought about, look, I guess flying, like, say, the Chi-Com flag, I never considered this particular protest to be in any way supportive of that, but I could see how somebody might see it that way. That's, something that I hadn't considered at all. But I would consider, say, flying a, the old Soviet Union flag to be more of an insult. To me, that's more of an insult than even setting the U.S. flag on fire. Because to me, you could be protesting something the government does by setting the flag on fire, whereas you're showing support if you fly the Soviet flag. What do you think?
Well, I believe in freedom of speech, and if flying a flag of whatever country, if burning a flag of whatever country prevents somebody from doing another, you consider that violent, but I mean an extremely violent act. In other words, to vent anger. If burning a flag, whatever flag it is, vents that person's anger, more power to them. I don't agree with it. I don't respect it. But I will surround that person with others who believe like me to protect their right to do so.
Awesome.
I do have an exception.
Tell me it.
And that is if you're a foreigner and you're in the United States in whatever foreign status you are, whether you're a student, a foreign student, a tourist, permanent resident, I don't care, refugee, asylee, I don't think you have that right. I think U.S. citizens, whether naturally born or naturalized in court, have the right to do that. But if you are not a U.S. citizen, you should not be desecrating anything having to do with the United States, especially if you're from a country like Mexico, where you would not be allowed to do that to your own flag, where Americans cannot fly flags in the faces of Mexicans at political rallies. Then I do not agree with that. Foreigners should not have that right. But I believe U.S. citizens, especially members of the military, former veterans or whatever, yes.
Jose, thank you for sharing.
Right.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate it. And by the way, you'd asked where it was. It was Summers, Iowa. So thank you for the call. I would love to see what he suggested in the beginning of his call happen. A bunch of U.S. military veterans showing up in Summers, Iowa, and then parading down Main Street with a bunch of upside-down U.S. flags to show solidarity with this guy. Now, I didn't agree with the end of his call, where his one exception, but hey, for the most part, I loved almost everything he said.
I kind of see it.
I see where he's coming from, but freedom of expression should apply to absolutely everyone, regardless of where they're from.
I mean, it makes it even more disgusting to me. I think that flag burning is already a coarse and boorish way to express yourself, but I think that it goes even. It doubles it again if you're somebody who, for whatever reason, is living in this country that is not a citizen, and you're availing yourself of whatever the benefits are. Hey, if it stinks that much, then perhaps wherever you came from might be better. If not, burn both of the flags at the very least. Burn a whole bunch of flags together or something. Hey, I don't like flags. I'm just an anti-flag person, I suppose. But if you're doing that, again, flag burning is a really, it's a really sort of open to interpretation kind of expression. People don't know what you mean when you do it, and that's why I think it's really just people trying to get attention.
The toll-free number that allows you to join us here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. U.S. Army veteran facing 30 days in jail for flying the U.S. flag upside down on his property. Now, the county disputes whether or not it was his property line. They claim it was their right-of-way. But regardless, it was his flagpole. It was his flag. He should be able to do what he wants. What do you think? 855-450-FREE. You can join us coming up in Hour 2 on Free Talk Live. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is down $12 at $1,343 per ounce, and silver is down 38 cents at $19.42 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $573 US. If you've thought about buying gold or silver, but didn't know how or what to buy, we can help. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760, or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, August 20th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.31 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,341 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $585. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon has withdrawn the vast majority of the military personnel involved in Saudi Arabia's war against Yemen, according to officials on Friday, saying there are now fewer than 5 troops inside Saudi Arabia participating in the operation, down from nearly 45 at the peak of America's involvement. The announcement comes at the end of a week of several high-profile incidents in which Saudi warplanes attacked and killed significant numbers of Yemeni civilians, including an attack on a school and the bombing of a Doctors Without Borders hospital facility. Pentagon officials, however, insist that the drawdown is unrelated to international concerns about civilian deaths and that it does not diminish U.S. commitment to supporting Saudi-led military operations. They added that re-escalation was possible. Saudi officials declined to directly comment on the report, saying the moving of U.S. personnel had no impact on the war and that they continue to enjoy extensive American support for their bombing campaign against northern Yemen. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports it would appear the improbable candidacy of butt stuff does not have the right stuff, according to the Federal Elections Commission. The commission, which oversees candidate filings for federal elections, is cracking down on obvious prank filings, such as D's Nuts, the creation of a 15-year-old Iowa boy. The FEC said in a press release on Friday, the commission has authorized staff to send verification letters to filers listing fictional characters, obscene language, sexual references, celebrities where there is no indication that the named celebrity submitted the filing, animals, or similarly implausible entries as the name or contact information of the candidate or committee. Politico reports that in addition to Butt Stuff and D's Nuts, the FEC has received filings on behalf of a Cat, Limberbutt McCubbins, and Master Alexander Soy Sauce and Tater Gourd First. Individuals caught making fraudulent election filings are subject to a fine under FEC rules. During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. He explains, "We aim to show the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that power corrupts absolutely and corrupt authority deserves no obedience." Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports the U.S. Army's finances are so jumbled it had to make trillions of dollars of improper accounting adjustments to create an illusion that its books are balanced. The Defense Department's Inspector General in a June report said the Army made $2.8 trillion in wrongful adjustments to accounting entries in one quarter alone in 2015 and $6.5 trillion for the year. Yet the Army lacked receipts and invoices to support those numbers or simply made them up. As a result, the Army's financial statement for 2015 were materially misstated, according to the report. The forced adjustments rendered the statements useless because DoD and Army managers could not rely on the data in their accounting systems when making management and resource decisions. Disclosure of the Army's manipulation of numbers is the latest example of the severe accounting problems plagued by the Defense Department for decades. This report affirms a 2013 Reuters series revealing how the Department of Defense falsified accounting on a large scale as it scrambled to close its books. As a result, there has been no way of knowing how the Defense Department spends the public's money. The new report focused on the Army's General Fund, the bigger of its two main accounts, with assets of $282.6 billion in 2015. The Army lost or did not keep required data, and much of the data it had was inaccurate, according to the Inspector General. Both major party presidential candidates have called for increased defense spending amid current global tensions. An accurate accounting could reveal deeper problems in how the Defense Department spends its money. Its 2016 budget is $573 billion, more than half of the annual discretionary spending budget appropriated by Congress. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A reclusive deity hasn't written a new book in 2,000 years, and a local rescue dog is adopted for a couple weeks. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, in a devastating blow to the nation's laundry, 16,000 Americans were reportedly stained during the messiest day in U.S. history. Reports confirm that nearly 3,000 citizens received permanent stains on their good shirt from mustard splatter off a dropped hot dog, along with 12,000 cases of spilled coffee and other dark beverages, ruining Americans' pair of hand-wash-only pants. Government officials further indicated that federal assistance for the nation's overwhelmed dry cleaners would be necessary. And in this week's local news, an elderly Rite Aid patron stretches out a conversation about toothpaste to prolong human contact. In other news, artifacts discovered buried in Washington, D.C. suggest humans once passed laws there. A self-centered child blames his parents' divorce entirely on himself. And a night of uninterrupted sleep really throws off a man's entire day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of this live Saturday edition of the program. Joining you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Story that we opened the show with, that we're continuing here because obviously people feel very strongly about the flag. In one way or the other. We've had people say they believe that desecrating the flag should be a felony. In Iowa, it's a misdemeanor to not just desecrate the flag, but to mutilate, deface, defile, or defy, trample upon, cast contempt upon, satirize, deride, or burlesque, either by words or act, such flag, standard color, ensign, shield, or other insignia of the United States, which is pretty all-encompassing.
Broad. And that's the scariest thing about laws is when they make them broad. So, you've got a flag T-shirt on? A T-shirt that has some sort of representations of the flag, because obviously it's not a flag if it's a T-shirt, right? But that could very well be, contrary to this law. And back when I was a kid, it was considered insulting to have flag kind of stuff. They sell flag underwear.
How about the NSA shirts? Remember the guy from Liberty Maniacs?
Yeah.
Who made satirical NSA shirts. They were very funny. The NSA actually went after him for it, and he ended up victorious in court over that because you have the right to use a government icon or government symbol in a satirical manner. It wasn't as though he was masquerading as the NSA. It was obvious satire to anyone who actually looked at the shirt. And so that shirt would likely fall under this particular ordinance or this statute that says...
Yeah, the Supreme Court has been abundantly clear on this particular issue, and the clarity comes down the side of this gentleman who was flying this flag.
It does, but right now he's still facing 30 days in jail.
Sure.
And the law apparently says that chiefs of police, sheriffs, and city marshals could be removed from office if they fail to enforce this. This is a shall enforce or a must enforce on this thing. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. He was flying his flag upside down underneath the Chinese flag to protest the lack of due process that he's received, or rather hasn't received, because he wasn't notified about a pipeline that ended up resulting in some eminent domain. It's going very nearby his property. His property, in fact, fell victim to eminent domain, granted to a Texas-based Dakota Access LLC in order to build a 1,134-mile oil pipeline through Iowa that passes between his home and his well, which is on his neighbor's property. So he's concerned the construction might break his water line or that it might freeze afterwards. And so this is what sort of moved him towards this protest in the first place.
He ain't happy.
You can share your thoughts with us here. We've had people say they think this. One guy said it should be a felony instead of a misdemeanor, and another guy who is a former, both of these guys former military veterans, the guy who wants it to be a felony, and then the guy who called the end of the first hour who says that this is his right, this is his property. He fought for the right to do what he wants with his property, and he should be able to do this. Let's get your thoughts here.
I'd like to point out, so everybody here, we're for whatever reason throwing out this this veteran thing. I mean, I don't know why that is particularly important. I mean, all of us have to pay for this stuff, right? I mean, whether you were in the military or not in the military, you still are forced to pay for whatever goes on and these kind of things. Are people in the military just better Americans? Is that why we're extolling this stuff?
Well, I wouldn't say that, no. But there are some people who believe that, and so it's interesting.
They seem to.
And it's interesting that this guy who's in the story is a former U.S. Army member. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Kirby is on the line. Kirby in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC. Hey, Kirby.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
That gentleman in Iowa was absolutely correct. It's his right. According to our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, which I think is our guideline, and number 10 is in there, but everything after number 10 is because number 10 is so vague, and they knew we had to evolve. But he was correct, and the symbolism is spot on because we are $19 trillion in debt to a communist nation.
Well, it's probably not all held by China.
No, it's mostly held by the Federal Reserve Bank. Go ahead.
Okay, but they
have a lot of...
I'm a black guy born in 1961, so I was raised on the Red Menace for the most part.
Yep.
And for us to be in debt to a communist nation, even 1 cent, would even make my grandparents, who were the children of slaves, roll over in their grave.
Yeah,
no, we shouldn't go for it. It's our country. Now, as far as foreigners go, I absolutely agree with that. If you are not a citizen, you got no skin in the game. Shut up. Become a citizen. Then you can help. Then you can say what you want to.
Well, here's the problem
with
citizenship is that there aren't really any citizens. And the reason I say that is because in order to be a citizen, you have to trade something. You have to trade a duty of allegiance in return for an obligation of protection. And the thing is, the state or the U.S. government does not have an obligation to protect you. The Supreme Court has ruled that again and again. All you have to do is Google "no obligation to protect," and you'll find the court cases, multiple cases, where they've made it pretty clear. So if the state has no obligation to protect you, and they're reneging on their side of the deal, how could there possibly be a citizenship?
I understand that. I've got a Social Security number. I know it's a schism, a dichotomy, whatever you want to put on it.
It is.
I get that, but I'm a citizen of the world.
Okay.
I live here. This is my home. I will fight to protect it from enemies that are inside or from outside, and no, I'm not a veteran.
And I don't think you should have to be in order to defend yourself and your property. Kirby, I want to thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's continue here. We got Paul. He's listening in South Carolina to WRNN in Myrtle Beach. Hey, Paul. Paul?
Hello.
Hey, you're on the air.
Yes, sir.
Whenever you're ready, we're here.
I believe anyone's got the right to do whatever they want to with the flag. I believe that.
All righty.
I'm with you, Paul.
I don't have to agree with it, but they have that right.
That's freedom for you. Thanks for your call tonight.
Freedom.
I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Ron in Richmond, Virginia, listening online.
This is heartening, by the way, to me.
LRN.FM. Hello, Ron. Go ahead.
Hey, yeah. So I had a problem with Jose, was it? And the last guy, not Paul, but the other guy.
Okay.
And basically thinking that Americans have some kind of special privilege. If you go back to why we have our Bill of Rights, okay, the 10 Amendments were designed to support the Declaration of Independence. Declaration of Independence clearly stated that we had inalienable rights. Inalienable means they are not able to be taken away from you, granted by a creator, and that they were granted to us not because we lived in a certain geographic location, but because we are living human beings.
Absolutely.
And all living human beings have every single right to exist and to express their thoughts and their ideas and their speech. And anyone who says Americans are the only ones that have these rights. They don't understand what a right is.
Yep, you're absolutely right about that.
Do you think that? So I get where they're coming from when they say this, though. When they say
it's
that
ethnocentrism is where they're coming from.
I don't know that I agree. So if you're say you've come from, you pick the country, wherever the country might be,
an arbitrary plot of land on the earth,
right.
Okay, with some human drawn lines around
right.
it.
And then they come here for whatever reason.
A different arbitrary plot of land.
One would assume for a better life, and one would assume they got it. If they're so upset about what it is, where it is they are, then hey, there's other options out there. For instance, the place you came from.
Yeah, but that doesn't negate the fact that they have the right to express themselves.
We can be the worst hell. We can be the best hellhole on earth, but if we're still a hellhole, we can want for a better hellhole.
Ron, you're absolutely spot on, dude. Thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you don't like what somebody's doing with their freedoms, then you should speak up and say something about it. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. Like 60% of you, I'm not impressed by the two-party system. It's a dinosaur. It's outmoded and no longer reflects today's America. Two-party politics doesn't work, and it hasn't worked for anybody but itself in decades. If we the people are wise, we will never again elect another president from within the entrenched, corrupt, co-opted two-party system. The office of president should serve the needs of everyone equally, with respect and with fairness. I did it as governor, I'll do it as president. Google me. 60% of you have said you want another choice in 2016, and now you have one in me. We the people have a chance to do something in 2016 that may not come around again in our lifetimes. We have a legitimate chance to elect one of our own to the highest office in the land. Give me your vote one time and see what a difference one election can make.
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
Earthquakes, political chicanery, extreme weather, impending financial doom. If you haven't gotten prepared, you're just not paying attention. You need emergency food, and you know it. You'll get the most emergency food for your money from Ready Supply Foods. Companies with patriotic names try to sell you 5 or 6 soups, some pudding, drink powders, and rice, but have only half of the calories you need to survive. You really want to try and live on that? Ready Supply Foods sells 23 delicious entrees with none of the empty calories. Enjoy stroganoff, pasta alfredo, primavera and marinara, chicken a la king, Hawaiian sweet and sour, and vegetable rotini. Those are just a few of our amazing menu items. You can buy from the other companies and eat like a peasant, or buy from Ready Supply Foods and eat like a king. We sell you twice as much food for the money than most companies, and it's much better food. Surviving a disaster is hard enough without worrying about starving to death. See how much more food you can get for your money at ReadySupplyFoods.com today.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. You can bring up anything you want, but people have been talking about your rights and freedoms to do what you want with the flag, with whatever flag. And some people say, you don't have that right, you don't have that freedom. Not in this land of the free. You can do other things that are freedom-oriented, but no, you can't touch the flag. But a man has flown a flag upside down in Iowa. He's a U.S. military veteran of the Army, and he's now facing 30 days in jail over it. You can share your thoughts. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, or Skype on in here at Skype username LRN.FM. Now, perhaps you are in the market for some business cards, or maybe you will be at some point, because at some point they're going to run out. So you're going to need some more at some point. So order 500 of them for just $9.99. That's $9.99 starting
for 500
price.
Business cards.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
Over at Vistaprint.com. But you got to use our promo code to get the special offer. Promo code is FTL. That's FTL like Free Talk Live. You need some more stuff for your business, maybe postcards, flyers, banners, apparel, or invitations. They got all that. I just recently got some checks over at Vistaprint.com. Did you know they could do that? I didn't. Yeah, now you know. With those business cards, you can customize the text, colors, backsides, and more. They've got thousands of industry-specific templates. You can upload your logo to one of their existing designs or upload an entire design of your own. They've got a really easy-to-use card designer right there on their website. That's what I used to make the Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree cards that I have. You can also upgrade the quality of the card, thicker stock, maybe a finish like metallic or spot gloss, raised print. They do all that over at Vistaprint. It's super easy to use, and they guarantee you'll love your products every time, or they'll make it right. So go to Vistaprint.com to get 500 business cards starting at just $9.99. Use code FTL at checkout. That's code FTL at Vistaprint.com. Back to your calls and thoughts here. Claude is on the line in Myrtle Beach listening to WRNN. Hey, Claude.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
Hey, I want to bring up something that not many people talk about.
All right.
About the flag and about our rights and about our freedom.
Sure.
I've been learning about this the last few years, how we actually have two United States.
There are two?
Yeah. We have the corporate United States, which is 10 miles square in Washington, D.C., and then we have the rest of the country, which is the United States Republic.
Okay.
And the United States Republic. United States Republic, we lost our rights and our control back in the 1800s when the corporate was designed.
With the 14th Amendment, right?
I don't know which amendment it was. I forgot, but I'm just bringing something up that I think a lot of people probably don't know about.
Now, this is an interesting conspiracy theory, but what is it? What is the relevance to somebody, I mean, who might be listening to the show?
What's the relevance to the people who are in federal prison right now that didn't commit crimes in Washington, D.C.?
That's what I was saying. That's what I was trying to say, but you're cutting in here. But anyway, the sovereignty that we have, all of us, and even every state, even every individual state, apart from Washington, D.C., has lost their sovereignty. But you know something? Back in this February this year, they've gotten their sovereignty back by filing paperwork with the World Court over in The Hague, over in Netherlands.
Which state filed to get their sovereignty back at the World Court?
Yes, and the guy that's in prison right now for hanging up that flag.
Which state?
The guy's in prison now for hanging up that flag. We all can do the same thing.
No, you can't go to the World Court. The World Court is only for governmental bodies.
So you asked the question, Mark, but I don't think he heard you. Claude, which state? You claim some state filed for their sovereignty back in the World Court. Which one did that?
Most all states have done it now.
Okay,
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I've never heard of this story. We'll have to look that one up. But what's the relevance of that? What do you believe that filing has accomplished for them?
Well, hold on a minute. I just told you, the Washington D.C. is a corporate government, and they're trying to run all the 50 states and all the rest of the states. They're trying to run every single one of us. They're trying to tell us what to do.
Isn't every government incorporated? I mean, like you'll go into a city and it'll say incorporated in 17.
Right, it's a municipal corporation.
Right, they're municipal corporations. I mean, corporations.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All the incorporated are from these corrupt people around the world, which everybody's heard about them, being Illuminati and stuff. They're being stopped.
So, but what is the relevance here? You're saying these states have retrieved their sovereignty from the World Court. Does that mean they're no longer subject to the United States Code?
Can I stop paying income tax now?
Pretty soon.
When? How? Am I going to get a letter in the mail?
You asked him another question, Mark, and I'm trying to get an answer from him about what this actually means. I don't pay income tax because screw the federal government. I'm not going to pay for evil. But going on here, Claude, what is your point? What is supposed to happen now that this sovereignty has supposedly been reclaimed by these states, which I don't believe for a moment, but that's what you say. So what's supposed to happen?
Well, it's happened. You can look it up. Like you said, you can look it up. Look up David Wilcock.
Right. You didn't answer the question. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. He's referring to this conspiracy theory that holds that there was previously the United States and then it somehow was subverted at some point in the 1800s.
Usually around the Civil War. And so what he's saying is true. Basically, prior to the Civil War, the keeping the Union together and all that, you had states were the highest law in the land, and that's where people really considered themselves to be from and that sort of thing. You'll see it's the 2nd New Hampshire Regiment charging upon, right, because they didn't hold the United States as the most important thing. But with this war to keep folks together, the United States government got a lot more momentum to push its power, and power tends to centralize.
Well, and the claim is that there was the United States all in lowercase, I think, and then it became the capital U, capital S, United States.
That was prior to the Constitution, I believe.
Okay, well, I've heard all of these theories, Mark. They all kind of mix into one another.
Agreed.
The reality is there is a gang of people. They call themselves the United States federal government, and they will do what they want. And if you don't like it or you stand in their way, they will crush you, and they will destroy you and your family, put you in a prison cell, maybe burn your house down, possibly kill you, because that's all that matters. It's might makes right as far as they're concerned. It doesn't matter what's written down on pieces of paper. As you pointed out earlier tonight, Mark, the Constitution has not prevented any of these things from happening. As Lysander Spooner pointed out back in the late 1800s, that the Constitution has either authorized the tyranny that we face today or it was powerless to prevent it. Either way, it's unfit this whole United States to exist. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It was a nice experiment, but look, it hasn't worked out. We've got less freedom now, so let's end it. Secession, I think, is the best way. If you want to talk about state sovereignty, you want to see a state declare its own sovereignty, secession is the way that's going to happen. Some state declaring independence from the United States peacefully, without using violence. That's how you get your sovereignty back. Let's go to David. He's listening in Washington State to KBKW. Hey, David.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks.
I'm really enjoying the show tonight.
Appreciate it.
I would like to say that I am a 30-year-old male that supports the guy in the hanging of the upside down of the flag.
All right.
This guy is obviously getting impeded on his property, for no reasons. And we live in America, it's supposed to be free.
Well, the reason is because some company wants to build a pipeline, so therefore the government, using likely the Kelo court decision, which granted the government the ability to take people's property for private use. If you got more, David, I want to get your thoughts out here. Hang on, we'll bring it back. 855-450-FREE. You can share your thoughts on whatever's on your mind. This is Free Talk Live's Live Saturday show.
Can your vitamin supplements positively affect your blood in 5 minutes? Protovite can. Protovite is a genuine breakthrough liquid daily nutrition that delivers quality ingredients into your blood in less than 5 minutes. Scientifically proven and backed by clinical studies, Protovite supports energy, vitality, and optimal health. Watch our 2-minute live blood cell video and see for yourself at vninc.com/prohealth. That's vninc.com/prohealth.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here. Live Saturday edition with you in studio tonight, Ian.
And Mark.
We've got Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. We also have toll-free lines. You can call in at 855-450-FREE. You don't have to talk about the guy who, U.S. military veteran who flew a flag upside down and got arrested for it in Iowa. There's anything goes here on Free Talk Live, so it's up to you what you want to discuss. Also, Liberland, the European micronation, has recently had recognition proposed by 7 Polish legislators. Now, Liberland is the idea of taking over this sort of no man's land, or whatever you call it.
Terra nullius.
Terra nullius, which exists between, so there's a plot about 3 square miles of basically swampland.
Bigger than the Vatican.
That exists, that's true, exists between Croatia and Serbia. And some libertarians over in Europe have decided to claim it as Liberland. And, of course, one of the things that they need to accomplish is to get other countries to acknowledge them as a nation. Now, I don't like the idea of nations. I'm a libertarian. I believe in the individual. But unfortunately, while we live in a world...
That's the paradigm.
Yeah, while we live in a world of nations, getting other nations to acknowledge your plot of land as a nation is very, very helpful. So that's what they're working towards, and they're determined to do so. In fact, the Chicago Journal of International Law has released a 35-page essay that makes the case for statehood for Liberland. By the way, over 100,000 people have requested citizenship at Liberland, and it's a small place, so in order to qualify for that citizenship, you do have to substantially contribute to the growth of Liberland. So go and learn more about it on their website, liberland.org, Liberland, liberland.org, as we go back to David in Oakland, Washington. David, you were just telling us, I think you said you were 30 years old, and you wanted to comment on the whole flag controversy, so please do.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of no land is free. If the government or a major company wants your land, they're going to take it, no matter how hard you work for it or
right.
how much you wanted it, or no matter your status in life, if you're a veteran or not, or if you're just a blue-collar guy,
yep.
Trying to get by. If you have a piece of land that is in the way of government, they're going to take it.
They'll take it, and they'll give you whatever arbitrary amount of money they think that it's worth.
And whatever amount of money it is, you're forced to take it.
That's
it's
right.
just, it's a bunch of crap. And I'm sick and tired of hearing it.
I'm with you. Thanks for sharing. Anything else you want to throw out there? Go for it.
Oh, no, man. I just thank you guys for the show, and I listen to you guys all the time. And
thanks, brother.
That's about it, man.
Hey, if you like the show, call the local radio station there, KBKW, and tell the program director thanks for airing Free Talk Live. And that same thing applies to anybody listening on the radio out there. We've got over 170 great radio stations that carry this show throughout the week. Not everyone's on Saturday nights. Not every Saturday night's on every other night, because we do the show live 7 nights a week. But for whatever amount they carry our show, I appreciate it. And a program director, they always hear complaints from folks. So It's always nice when you can pick up the phone as a program director and one of your listeners is on the line saying, hey, that Free Talk Live show, I really enjoy it. I listen every week.
I may not agree with everything that they say, but I sure do appreciate the fact that they give everybody an opportunity to talk.
Right, unlike all those other, pretty much every other talk show out there, at least in the syndicated world.
With most talk shows, you're not going to get on the air if you disagree.
Let's continue. We got Jane. She's also listening to KBKW in Washington and Aberdeen. Hey, Jane.
Hi.
Hey, you're on the air.
Thank you for taking my call.
Go ahead.
You are only on Saturday night where I'm at, and I do appreciate your show and that you let people talk. I called in to talk about, you remember Bob Hope, who used to do the USO shows for troops? I was coming home from a wedding, and I'm home now, but I was listening to the radio, and I'm a radio listener. I have no TV. I just get my news from the radio.
That's awesome.
Well, I like radio because people can talk, and they give you their point of view, and TV slants the news however they want the story to go, but when you have people call in from all over the United States, they teach me things I never thought of. And you were talking about the flag, and I was going to tell you about Bob Hope.
Sure.
I was a little girl when the Vietnam War was going on, and my older brother enlisted because my dad was a POW in World War II, and he didn't want him to get drafted, so he had him enlist in the Air Force. Back then, it was like every other guy was either Marine or Army, so he wanted him safe because of what my dad escaped. I wouldn't be here if he hadn't escaped. But so I was raised that way, patriotic, God and country. And Bob Hope said, "I do not mind if they burn the U.S. flag, as long as they're wrapped up tight when they set it on fire."
It's clever.
Comedian, obviously. I grew up in Iowa. You were talking about Iowa, where this guy hung the flag upside down. I'm from Mason City. That's where they made the movie with Opie. Music Man. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
But, okay. Anyway, I too, I didn't know what hanging up the flag upside down was, but somebody that works for me, I managed apartments with my husband, hung the flag upside down, and all of a sudden we were the managers, and I had someone knock on the door, and it was a military guy, and he goes, "Is everything okay here?" And I said, yes. And he goes, you got your flag upside down. So that's how I learned when you hang the flag upside down, you're in distress.
That was in distress. So somebody actually came to check on you. That's very interesting. Thank you, Jane, for sharing your thoughts tonight. I appreciate it. I love that there are people out there that don't have televisions that are listening to the radio. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go to Ronald, listening in Lynchburg, Virginia, to WLNI. Hey, Ronald.
Hey, how are you?
That's great. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, about the Constitution, it says there a paragraph very clear that no foreigner should be president in this country.
That's true.
USA.
No foreigner?
And then the first president was appointed by the United Kingdom, Mr. Thomas Jefferson.
I think he was the first president. I think he was the third.
He was English person. And since then, because the United Kingdom appointed him, they also appointed a tax collector. Since then, we have taxes.
Well, the taxes, okay, so income tax came in 1913 after a modification to the Constitution. Which taxes are you referring to?
Well, the taxes that the United Kingdom appointed John Adams to collect from the American people in 1878, I guess.
This sounds like
Adams was the second president. That might have been in the 1790s.
It sounds like some sort of variant on the "we're still under the crown" conspiracy theory. Thank you, Ronald, for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Toll-free number.
All these are very interesting. Like, they'll take a few facts and like, wow, you really strung those together into a very interesting story.
Well, I don't know how many facts were in that particular call.
Not that particular one, but the idea that we're still under the crown. There's some really great YouTube videos out there. If you take a watch and look at them, you'll believe this crap by the time you get done.
Yeah, but they're leaving information out, right?
Yeah.
Like important information. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We continue. Wally's on the line, listening in Pennsylvania to, I believe, WEEO. Hey, Wally.
Hello there. How are you doing tonight?
Welcome. You're on the air.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. This is the first time calling in anywhere, so...
Excellent.
Yeah, big fan of you guys. I was just listening in, and I just got in and was wondering what was going on with the flag upside down under the Chinese flag.
Yes.
I just caught the last part of that caller. And
So I'll recap for you here.
So, yeah, please recap.
Yeah, so you got a U.S. military veteran who hung. He's frustrated with eminent domain. The government stole his property to give to an oil pipeline. And so he's hanging the U.S. flag upside down underneath the Chinese flag in protest on his own flagpole on what he believes was his property. Police come by. They tell him they actually had already taken the flags down. They handed them back to him, saying, "You're not allowed to do that. There's a statute about this." So he went right back out in front of the cops, put the flags back up, and then they arrested him, and they've charged him with flag desecration, which in Iowa is apparently punishable as a misdemeanor by up to 30 days in jail. And the statute is absolutely outrageous. It's not just about, defacing the flag. It also includes satirizing, trampling upon, defiling, mutilating, or casting contempt upon, deriding or burlesque, either by words or act, such flag, standard color, ensign, shield, or other insignia of the United States. So anybody with that FBI female body inspector hat, if you're in Iowa, look out. We'll let you respond here in moments, Wally. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk live Saturday edition of the program. We invite you, as always, to take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we also have Skype. You can Skype into the show at Skype username lrn.fm. If you like what we're doing on Free Talk Live, please become a Free Talk Live amplifier for $5 per month. You can do it with any major credit card. You can do it with PayPal as well. And Bitcoin is technically back, so this is the first time we're announcing it on the air. You can now amp the show with Bitcoin. There's some tweaks we're going to make to the system to make it a little clearer how that works. So it's still kind of in a testing mode. But if you want to try out, you want to be a guinea pig, then go to amp.freetalklive.com. To order with Bitcoin, to amp the show with Bitcoin, you have to use the prepaid option. So the typical way of amping Free Talk Live is it's a monthly charge to your credit card or your PayPal account. With Bitcoin, because Bitcoin doesn't really have any mechanism for monthly charges, you'd have to pay for your amp in advance. So you'd pay 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, your choice. So you pay for the Bitcoin, and one of the things that has changed big time here is we got rid of Coinbase because, well, they got rid of us. They got rid of all my accounts,
They are
basically.
a bunch of miserable...
Yeah. So, and the problem, the nice thing about Coinbase was they had made it so you could do a monthly contribution. So,
Yeah,
if you had a balance in your Coinbase account, then Coinbase would debit that on a monthly basis.
For Bitcoin, yeah.
For Bitcoin. So that was a nice thing, but Coinbase isn't a very nice company. So they got rid of us, and now we're using Mycelium Gear, which actually cuts out the middleman and actually allows you to contribute directly via Bitcoin to the Free Talk Live AMP program. But that also means that there's no more monthly debits. So you do have to pay in advance. Go to amp.freetalklive.com, or, of course, you can use your credit card, or there's Visa or MasterCard right there on the website, or PayPal, which means you can use any other credit card you want. You can do all of that over at amp.freetalklive.com, and you'll get perks. You'll get access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, and the AMP-only Facebook group, which is a really cool perk. So check it out. Learn more about it. amp.freetalklive.com. It helps us get the show on more radio stations and spread it around the globe. Let's go back to Wally calling from Pennsylvania. You wanted a quick recap, and for those just tuning in, we're talking about a man who has been charged. He's yet to go to court on this, but he's been charged and arrested for having a U.S. flag hanging upside down on a flagpole out in front of his house in Iowa, where apparently it's a violation of state statute, an arguably quite unconstitutional state statute, mind you, but nonetheless, he's going through the system now, and so we'll see what happens. But your thoughts are welcome. So go ahead, Wally.
Well, what we lost here is the human factor, and obviously he was emotionally distressed over the whole, property thing, and should have the cops arrested him? Did they talk? I'm really about the human factor. I'm in construction. I talk to people all the time. People are great, and people are people. And we've just lost that whole human touch.
The police can feel that way, too. I mean,
common sense. And I understand, the police have to do a job. I grew up very patriotic. I learned that my grandfather was shot up pretty bad in Korea. I never got to know him because he was in a bad car accident and died in the 60s. Ever since I learned that, I was very patriotic, loved the flag. I love the United States. I believe in everything that stands for. Not happy with the government right now. A lot of people aren't.
But isn't the United States the government? I mean,
to answer that question, I'm glad you asked that question. The United States is our Constitution. It's the Declaration of Independence, and it's the
Well, I
Bill
can
of
tell you
Rights.
that in court cases, it's the United States versus, and then whoever it is that they're going after. They certainly consider themselves to be the United States. See, I like to differentiate between America and the people versus the United States. Wally, thanks for your call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And he mentioned the police have to do a job. Well, most of the time the police have discretion. So the police don't have to enforce every statute on the books. They can decide to use their discretion and look the other way if they want to. But not in this case, because this law is extra special in Iowa, the one that is possibly going to put this man in jail for 30 days. This law actually explicitly tells chiefs of police, sheriffs, and city marshals that they could be removed from office if they fail to enforce this law. So it's pretty unusual. This law, they're saying there is no discretion with that. But generally, the police can make their choice as to whether or not to enforce.
In this case, there isn't, and that's just going to give, frankly, you should be responsible for your actions, right? So I guess the legislators should be responsible for this, and they should be the ones that pay out whatever payoff this guy's going to get, because he is. Because this is an unconstitutional law.
The taxpayers are going to be the ones paying this off. The legislators who passed this have probably been out of office, many of them. I mean, I don't know how many years it's been on the books, but I suspect this isn't a new law. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. To your calls. We continue. John is with us, and John is in Frederick, Maryland. Hey, John, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, not to change the subject. But,
no, it's all right. It's Free Talk Live. That's what we do here. You can call in about anything you want. So here you are.
Okay. I was listening to another radio station earlier today when I was driving, and I heard a guy make a comment, and then I lost the station. He called himself a Libertarian Socialist. This was one of the hosts of the station, of the show.
Interesting.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes you just look at this one of those things where you just look at the radio after that, go, what the hell?
Yeah.
I've never understood this.
I could explain both sides of it whenever you're ready. Just go ahead. Go ahead. Give your feedback.
To me, it's just they're contradictory terms.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, I agree with everybody's position here, which is that libertarian and socialist are terms that contradict each other.
Like fire and water.
I was taught that socialism means state ownership of the means of production. And so, therefore, how in the world could you possibly have libertarian, which is all about the individual, and then state ownership of the means of production? Well, the answer is that you turn it into community ownership of the means of production. And the idea is that somehow we, the lower classes, get together voluntarily and stand against the upper classes who are trying to subjugate us. Now, I don't necessarily disagree that the upper classes are trying to peel off from the lower classes labor and value and all those things that a socialist or a communist might believe. I think they are doing that. However, when it comes, frankly, groups above the size of 8 tend not to operate very well.
Hey, John, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Let's go to Jerry, listening in Texas. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark on the live Saturday show. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, how you doing? Love your show.
All right, thanks. Go ahead.
Hey, one thing, something I've researched for a number of years is the Fair Tax Act.
The Fair Tax?
They've been working. Yes, and I was wondering if you've researched that, what your take is on it. Now, I think it sounds okay, but you might have some insight that I don't.
So, yeah, I first of all, there is no such thing as a fair tax, right? I mean, taxes are aggression. Taxes are, a violation of your rights, and they're aggression against peaceful people. So all taxes should be abolished. Now, the people who are pitching the fair tax will tell you that the fair tax is better than the current status quo because, well, the IRS is a mess and it's so confusing and all that. I'll agree with them there. It is more simplified. That much is true.
Further, it incentivizes saving over, what a tax does is oftentimes they'll put a tax on, think bad things like cigarettes have high taxes so that you won't smoke. Well, then why in the world do we put high taxes on earning money? That's ridiculous. So what a fair tax does is it puts a tax on spending as opposed to earning.
But it's a huge problem for a couple of different reasons. One, there's all the proposals. They would love to get you to believe they're going to get rid of the IRS, but there's no real guarantee that that's going to happen. What you may end up having... What you may end up...
The IRS will still have on some level.
Right. So what you may end up having is a 20 to 30% tax on everything sold in the United States, and they would keep
23.
Well, that's maybe the current proposal, but again, there's no actual legislation pending that I'm aware of. Jerry, thank you for the call tonight. We'll continue to discuss it here, but so yeah, this tax, then you have an IRS tax on top of that. Now they might say, well, the income tax will only apply to the richest of the rich, but that's what they said originally about the income tax.
If you go look in 1913 when it started, the idea was they were only going to tax the very wealthy,
and then they kept expanding and expanding.
And now everybody's files one of these forms.
So it creates a danger to anybody who wants to sell outside of the legitimate market, who doesn't want to collect the sales tax. And further, there's the welfare check that'll be issued to every single American as part of this program, which is, in my opinion, the absolute worst part about the proposal. We can tell you more about it coming up here in hour number 3 on Free Talk Live.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more.
It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, August 20th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.31 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,341 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $585. Antiwar.com reports the Pentagon has withdrawn the vast majority of the military personnel involved in Saudi Arabia's war against Yemen, according to officials on Friday, saying there are now fewer than 5 troops inside Saudi Arabia participating in the operation, down from nearly 45 at the peak of America's involvement. The announcement comes at the end of a week of several high-profile incidents in which Saudi warplanes attacked and killed significant numbers of Yemeni civilians, including an attack on a school and the bombing of a Doctors Without Borders hospital facility. Pentagon officials, however, insist that the drawdown is unrelated to international concerns about civilian deaths and that it does not diminish U.S. commitment to supporting Saudi-led military operations. They added that re-escalation was possible. Saudi officials declined to directly comment on the report, saying the moving of U.S. personnel had no impact on the war and that they continue to enjoy extensive American support for their bombing campaign against northern Yemen. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports it would appear the improbable candidacy of butt stuff does not have the right stuff, according to the Federal Elections Commission. The commission, which oversees candidate filings for federal elections, is cracking down on obvious prank filings, such as D's Nuts, the creation of a 15-year-old Iowa boy. The FEC said in a press release on Friday, the commission has authorized staff to send verification letters to filers listing fictional characters, obscene language, sexual references, celebrities where there is no indication that the named celebrity submitted the filing, animals, or similarly implausible entries as the name or contact information of the candidate or committee. Politico reports that in addition to Butt Stuff and D's Nuts, the FEC has received filings on behalf of a cat, Limberbutt McCubbins, and Master Alexander Soy Sauce and Tater Gourd First. Individuals caught making fraudulent election filings are subject to a fine under FEC rules. During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. He explains, "We aim to show the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that power corrupts absolutely and corrupt authority deserves no obedience." Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports the U.S. Army's finances are so jumbled it had to make trillions of dollars of improper accounting adjustments to create an illusion that its books are balanced. The Defense Department's Inspector General in a June report said the Army made $2.8 trillion in wrongful adjustments to accounting entries in one quarter alone in 2015 and $6.5 trillion for the year. Yet the Army lacked receipts and invoices to support those numbers or simply made them up. As a result, the Army's financial statement for 2015 were materially materially misstated, according to the report. The forced adjustments rendered the statements useless because DoD and Army managers could not rely on the data in their accounting systems when making management and resource decisions. Disclosure of the Army's manipulation of numbers is the latest example of the severe accounting problems plagued by the Defense Department for decades. This report affirms a 2013 Reuters series revealing how the Department of Defense falsified accounting on a large scale as it scrambled to close its books. As a result, there has been no way of knowing how the Defense Department spends the public's money. The new report focused on the Army's General Fund, the bigger of its two main accounts, with assets of $282.6 billion in 2015. The Army lost or did not keep required data, and much of the data it had was inaccurate, according to the Inspector General. Both major party presidential candidates have called for increased defense spending amid current global tensions. An accurate accounting could reveal deeper problems in how the Defense Department spends its money. Its 2016 budget is $573 billion, more than half of the annual discretionary spending budget appropriated by Congress. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Studies show that more and more teenagers are leaving Facebook, but where are they going instead? Apparently to the hottest new social media site in years, the comment section of this YouTube video of a deer running in slow motion. Already, its comment section is seeing over 30 million active users. Facebook isn't giving up so easily, incorporating images and videos of deer, elk, reindeer, and even moose into their layout. But teens say that misses the point entirely. In fact, the site's one unwritten rule: don't post anything about the video itself. Teens say that's not cool. But with more and more people swapping over to the comments section of the slow motion deer video by the day, some trend watchers warn it may begin going the way of Facebook.
I was obsessed with it for a while, but now it's just boring. I'm probably going to switch over to Happy Fast Kitchen.
While we don't know for sure, we believe Happy Fast Kitchen might refer to the Yelp page for a Chinese food restaurant in Cleveland, the new social media site where musician Skrillex recently dropped his latest album.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the third hour of the live Saturday edition of the program. Lots of discussion tonight about a flag controversy. Army veteran in Iowa has been arrested. He's now facing 30 days in jail for flying the American flag upside down and underneath a Chinese flag. He violated a state statute that says it's a misdemeanor to publicly mutilate, deface, defile, or defy, trample upon, cast contempt upon, satirize, deride, or burlesque, either by words or act, such flag, standard color, ensign, shield, or other insignia of the United States. Just absolutely outrageous, unconstitutional, anti-free speech, anti-expression statute, and a lot of people have been expressing themselves. Thankfully, you still have relative free speech in the United States, but if you're in Iowa, not so much. So we can continue that. You can also bring up anything. Our topics have started to spiral into different areas here, and I like it when that happens because I like the variety there. So we're going to get back to your calls and thoughts, but I did want to finish our thoughts on the fair tax. We had a gentleman call in at the very end of the last hour, and I don't think we really had a chance to explain, in my opinion, why it's not a good idea. Now, that's not to say I think the IRS is a good idea. I think that the whole federal government's a terrible idea, and it needs to end, which is one of the reasons why I don't support spending any time on the fair tax. There's all kinds of people who are spending time and effort on promoting this fair tax when ultimately we're just talking about rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic here. I mean, the federal government is a massive behemoth that sucks away your freedom and your life from you. Because if you're paying in 30% of your income, that's 30% of your life that they're sucking out of you. So they do damage around the globe. They destroy people's lives here in the United States and around the globe. There's no reason to have the federal government. If you're going to spend time and effort on some sort of political action, then spend it on seceding from the Union rather than the fair tax. But further, there's also the welfare aspect of this, which is, in my opinion, the most devious, nasty part of this. Because we know that, with welfare, that people get hooked on it. They start getting those checks, get those checks coming in. Who doesn't want to stop the checks? Who doesn't want that? I mean, checks are great.
Yep.
So you get those checks coming in from the government, and then all of a sudden you become hooked on welfare. Well, the proposal with the fair tax is to turn the entirety of the United States, every single individual, into a welfare recipient. And now they have a different term for it with the fair tax. They call it the prebate. Now, we know a lot of this because we actually interviewed one of these fair tax people years ago. I mean, they've been pushing this thing for, what, a decade now or something like that? So this prebate, as it was proposed, would be, oh, we're only giving, it's not welfare, we're only giving you the money that you would spend in taxes on average or something like that.
The idea is that most people don't want to tax people who are making less than a certain amount of money. Yeah. And the idea is that everybody, with this fair tax, everybody pays basically a sales tax or something.
20-something percent.
20-something percent on everything they buy or whatever.
And then add your local sales tax on top of that.
And then that would include all the poor people that are having to pay that too. So the idea is that you give them back, prior to them spending the money, the amount of money that they would have to spend in order to be in whatever bracket or whatever.
Right. So it's literally a welfare check that goes to every single individual, poor and rich. Everyone gets the prebate check is the idea. And so now you've hooked every single person on welfare.
There's a difference between welfare and the prebate check. So the welfare says that
one's called prebate, one's called welfare.
Well, there's some. I get that it's a check coming from the government, but you could just call it a Social Security check too, because
that's also welfare.
Well, it's not welfare; it's an entitlement program.
Same thing, dude. It's entitlement, and that's how people are going to feel about it. Right. They're going to feel entitled to it.
Feel entitled, absolutely. It will become an entitlement. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But welfare has specific rules about you not working, right? So you can't work and get welfare, or work and get make a certain amount. You would still get the prebate no matter how much you made.
Right, which is why it's so devious, because with welfare there's actually some qualification to get the welfare. In this case, everyone's qualified just by virtue of the fact that you're sucking breath. You get a check from the government every single month, and then they'll use that against people. People will be dependent on it. And there's just, for anybody that loves the idea of liberty, this should be an anathema to them. You should understand that anybody getting a check regularly from the government will likely become the government's bitch. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. We got Jason. He's in Newport News, Virginia, listening to WNIS. Hey, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
That kind of makes me wonder what you guys think about the consumption tax with Gary Johnson.
Isn't that the same thing?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering. But the main reason I called
I like Gary Johnson. I believe he's the best choice among the choices for president, and likely he will get my vote.
Too bad he's not a libertarian.
He's not sufficiently a libertarian for you. Yeah. I'm more of a big tent libertarian than you are.
That means you're unprincipled.
Okay, fine. I'm unprincipled. Fine. I can live with it. I can live with Ian says I'm unprincipled.
Any libertarian would say that about you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Any real libertarian.
Right. It's
Any
a real
libertarian with principles, which Gary Johnson doesn't have.
Ladies and gentlemen, Google.
He wouldn't know a principle if it hit him in his face.
Real Scotsman
which it wouldn't, because
fallacy.
a libertarian wouldn't do that.
And then you'll know.
Go ahead, Jason.
Well, that was also another question I had. First off, I like the idea of a secession from the federal government. However, to think that the federal government would let a large portion of their cash cow and their income just seemingly just walk away seems a bit naive to me, because considering we've already been through that. And also, I consider myself a libertarian. I've gone to bat for libertarian principles in the past. However, when I hear you guys talk about certain aspects of libertarianism, it seems that it would only work in a idealistic society where everybody is fully self-sustainable. Nobody asks for anything, from anybody else.
I mean, gosh, it'd be great to have everybody be, reliant on themselves like that. But no, that's not a requirement for libertarianism to work. All libertarianism is a principle that says that you should not aggress against other human beings. You should not use aggressive force to achieve political or social goals.
And that includes preventing other people from having the government that they want. I believe that you should have whichever government you want, and if that's the United States government, you should be able to have it. All I think, as a libertarian, is that you should be able to say no thank you. That's it.
Well,
the simple ability to say no thank you.
Okay, but anyway, my point was going to be that just because you are rejecting aggression doesn't mean you can't have those social goals. So if one of your social goals is to take care of hungry people, is to put a roof over some homeless people's heads, if it's to take care of sick people. There are people in society that this is their job, this is what they want to do, this is their calling in life. And in the absence of the centralized bureaucracy of the state, all of those things will be much healthier, in that the organizations that provide those services to people will be able to help more people than they currently can, because right now the government's siphoning off however many billions of dollars, and then a lot of that money is going to the bureaucrats that run the program. So you'd actually be able to help people in need better under a libertarian environment, because people would be able to allocate their own resources rather than leaving it to a bunch of government bureaucrats to decide how money is spent. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right, thanks for your call tonight, Jason. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to a different Jason. This one's in Indianapolis. You're on Free Talk Live listening to WIBC. Hey, Jason.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for taking my call. Love listening to you on Saturday nights here in Indianapolis. It's kind of become a regular thing.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely. As I'm listening to the discussion this evening, I keep coming back to this thought that I find myself contemplating quite a bit in the last few months and the last few years. Is there anything legitimate about our government at this point?
Define legitimate.
Is there anything that should command my attention and command my, I even hate to use the word, obedience? Whether it be the corrupt, township person here in Indianapolis who's taking money out from the Treasury, or the cop who's taking bribes or being rough with young people when they don't need to. When I look at the legislature, I guess it all comes back to, I find myself, going to that Heinlein quote, and I'm paraphrasing here, is I obey the rules I want to, because the rest of them are just kind of, horse squeeze, for lack of a better term.
Well, why shouldn't you? Because that's what they're doing, right? Stand by, Jason. We can talk about the legitimacy of the government. They're doing whatever it is they want to do. Why shouldn't we? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Difference is I won't hurt anybody. It's Free Talk Live, and they will.
Know that sound? That's the sound of trouble for CPAP users. Did you know that just one drop of water in your CPAP system can become a breeding ground for mold and bacteria? Breathe that stuff in and you're battling respiratory infections, allergy attacks, and more. But here's good news. SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It's the healthier way to clean your system because it kills 99.9% of germs in minutes. For a limited time, you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-951-9693. SoClean makes cleaning your CPAP a breeze. It's completely hands-free. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Don't let one drop of water wreak havoc on your body. Call SoClean.com now for your risk-free trial while supplies last. 1-800-951-9693. That's 1-800-951-9693.
Do you know that good digestion is your body's first line of defense? Millions of Americans suffer from poor digestion. It shows up in the form of heartburn, acid reflux, GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, indigestion, constipation, diarrhea, and many other symptoms. Healthy digestion relies on armies of friendly bacteria. These good bugs keep bad bugs in check. Probimune, a new, uniquely developed probiotic, is scientifically proven to get to your gut and deliver the benefits of improved digestion. Probimune is an immune system booster and a digestive health enhancer. It's simple to use, and most importantly, you will feel Probimune working, soothing, and relaxing the gut. Get yours today by visiting younghealth.com or call 800-396-9024. Again, that's 800-396-9024. Use coupon code DIGEST to receive 15% off your first order.
The easiest thing in the world for a reader to do is to stop reading, according to the late, great Barney Kilgore, who became managing editor of the Wall Street Journal in 1941 and grew the paper's circulation from 33,000 to 1 million by the 60s. And he'd be pleased to know that his paper is one of the few that people now pay to read online. Someone else pre-internet who realized that attention is fragile? Motown Motown Records founder Berry Gordy. In the early 60s, when his label dominated the charts, he'd bring a dozen real people into the Hitsville, USA studios and audition songs. And he'd ask, if you were down to your last dollar, would you spend it on this record or would you buy a sandwich? Today, attention span seems like an oxymoron. For tips on cutting through the clutter, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Friday, gold is down $12 at $1,343 per ounce, and silver is down 38 cents at $19.42 per ounce. Bitcoin is currently trading at $573 US. If you've thought about buying gold or silver, but didn't know how or what to buy, we can help. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760, or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk live Saturday edition of the program. You can dial in toll-free here and bring up anything that's on your mind. Our number's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. You know, if you've got Bitcoin, we want you to download the official wallet of Free Talk Live. It's Jax, and you can get it for free over at jax.io, Jaxx.io, or you can get it from your Google or Apple app stores. And there's no wallet quite like it. You can hold Bitcoin, Ether, and now Dash as well. So multiple cryptocurrencies in the same wallet, and there's Shapeshift.io integration built in right into the wallet, which means you can easily change from one cryptocurrency to another. So if you've got Bitcoin, you want to turn some of your Bitcoin into Ether or Dash or vice versa, you can do it without even having to leave the Jax wallet. That is super useful and super cool. It was created by Anthony D'Orio. He is one of the founders of Ethereum and a Free Talk Live listener. It's easy to back up your wallet with Jax and recover your funds if necessary. So if your phone breaks, not the end of the world. And in fact, you can have Jax installed on multiple different computers and have your same funds on all of those different Jaxes. So if you've got a laptop and a desktop and a smartphone, you can have Jax for all of those things, because there's Jax for Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, iOS, and then also browser plugins as well. So they got you covered.
Everything, yeah.
Over at Jax.io. They're striving to give you command over your digital life, coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. It's your digital command center. It's Jax at Jax.io, Jaxx.io. As we continue here, a gentleman who was on the line had dropped off, but he had asked the question about legitimacy of the government. You know, the idea that, I mean, this government is obviously corrupt, all the levels of it. I mean, local, state, federal. It seems to get worse as you get larger, but there's corruption everywhere. All you have to do is just scratch just beneath the surface, and you can reveal all manner of untoward and outrageous behavior by these government bureaucrats.
I would say that the United States government is less corrupt than most governments around the world, but governments in their very nature are going to, A, attract the corrupt.
That's right.
And B, corrupt the people that are attracted to them. There's science behind this.
That's power. That's just what power does.
Power does that, and you give somebody a little bit of power, and they're going to be a little corrupt, and you give somebody a lot of power, and they're going to end up being a lot of corrupt.
Right. So I, as a voluntarist, as someone who believes that all human interaction should be consensual, I don't believe in the idea of the state, period. But it is, it's instructive to look at how absolutely awful they are. And it's not hard to see it. All you got to do is look for it, read the news, you'll see it. It's not like these stories are unusual. We keep seeing again and again over multiple generations how corrupt the government is. And people still seem to think they can just elect the right people and solve the problems. I mean, it's just a mass delusion. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We go first to Harry, listening in Indianapolis to WIBC. Hello, Harry.
Hi. Yeah, well, first of all, I disagree with the man showing disrespect of a flag. I don't think he should be flying it upside down unless he has a real emergency. And I certainly don't think it should be flown under the Chinese flag.
What should happen, sir, to the man you're talking about, the man who flew a flag upside down under the Chinese flag in Iowa?
Well, he did violate a law. Whether the law is legitimate or not is up to the courts. But since he violated, he needs to obey the law.
So you support it? You support the law?
Well,
just to clarify.
What if the law is unconstitutional according to the United States Supreme Court?
I think I like to have a law to protect the flag because I don't like all these people burning flags and showing disrespect for our country.
Yeah, all that freedom. You don't like that freedom, huh?
Well, not that kind of freedom,
nope,
and I don't like the freedom to burn down stores and everything else.
Well, that's a different story. If you're burning down a store, you're burning someone else's property. But if you're burning your own flag, if it's your flag, what you're saying is you don't believe in property rights, sir. You don't believe that an individual should have the right to do with their property what they want to do because of your feelings.
I think the flag is more than just property. It stands for our country and our freedom. And when you disrespect that, I think you're disrespecting our freedom.
It's a religious icon.
What about the veterans who've called in here this evening and said that what they were fighting for and what they were serving for was the freedom, among other things, the freedom to burn the flag?
Well, I don't know if I haven't heard all of their comments, but just because they're a veteran doesn't mean they have a right to desecrate the flag.
Yeah, how dare they? How dare they not obey your religious beliefs, sir? You want to force your religious belief in this flag on everybody else, and you want to put people in a prison cell for it? How long should someone go to prison?
I'm not talking about religious belief.
Oh, yeah, you said it's more than just property. You said this piece of cloth is more than just property, that it's imbued with the beauty and the power of the state. Yes, this idea. That's all the state is.
It stands for our country, and if you disrespect it, you're saying you disrespect our country.
Thank you for the call here.
I've got a question. Do you think the United States has gotten freer over the last 3 decades?
I think we've got a terrible government right now. We need to get that guy out of there.
Do you think that we've become freer over the last 3 decades?
I can't really say on that.
All right, then. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
The reason I try to get him to commit to that one, Ian, is because most people will say, no, we're less free. And I think that we are demonstrably less free, as all you have to do is go through the airport. But, whatever. Most people will say that you're less free.
That happened during the Bush administration, by the way. A lot of people like to put it on the current, that one guy, we get rid of that one guy, that'll change everything. BS. That one guy is just 100 millionth of the damn problem. There's a big problem, and that is the idea of using the violence of the state over other people with whom you disagree, which is exactly what that man is asking for. So he's really not that different than Obama. Let's go on to James, listening in West Virginia. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, James.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm a vet to the Vietnam era.
All right.
So it's gone back quite a while. But, the flag upside down does not mean disrespect. It means distress. And that's a carryover from the old days in the Navy. If a ship was flying the flag upside down, it means they needed help.
Right.
And that's the whole purpose of the upside down American flag. As far as this Chinese flag flying above ours, I think that's more of a tongue-in-cheek on his part about how China's kicking our butts. So,
absolutely.
I would guess it has something to do with all the debt, too.
That's what I'm referencing, yeah, okay. That too. So, basically, it's a much to do about nothing, and I'd like to see, you touched on another subject that's really dear to my heart, corruption. It's so rampant in this nation that it's a joke.
Oh, yeah. I had another story for tonight. You want to talk about corruption? And we'll probably get into detail on this tomorrow night on the Live Sunday edition. But Massachusetts has just passed a law that will actually take money from Uber and Lyft, 5 cents per ride, these new ride-sharing companies, and then shuffle it over to the taxi cab companies. So, I mean, the corruption is rampant and rife here in the United States.
Yep,
Thanks,
that's
James,
graft.
for the call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's not graft when they do it, Mark. Right. They're the government. This is Free Talk Live, live Saturday edition, and you can bring up anything you want here. It doesn't have to be flag talk. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you living your passion? Are you pumped to go to work because you get to talk about or work with or do the things that interest you the most? Is working, playing, and relaxing one and the same? As long as you're working for someone else, you'll never be living entirely true to yourself and your passion. I'm Pharmacist Keith. Let me show you how you can work around your current schedule, create the extra income so you can live your passion. Visit radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com. radio.recordedvideo.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
World fast for peace.
I don't understand what she said.
If the whole world fasted like Gandhi, we would see great results for this struggle to survive world order.
There's never going to be any peace. You sound like you're on drugs, dear. It sounds like you're a flower child. You're pumped up on drugs.
Any woman who doesn't agree with you is on drugs or something.
I may be a racist and anti-Semite, but I have all my faculties.
Well, racism and sexism are one.
You're one of those love mankind, love thy neighbor.
And I am too, and thank you both for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. That is the one thing I can certainly agree with the lady on. Normally I can't understand a word that she says, but I think Scott, the bigot, did interpret her correctly, and that she is interested in peace, and I like that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it. George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey!
Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free to join us here. The live Saturday edition continues. We got plenty of time for you here. It's Ian.
And Mark.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, Skype on in here. Skype username is LRN.FM. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, we go to Tony, listening in Indianapolis. Tony, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, fellas. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I called about, you hear about Hillary being a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Most people have no idea what it even is.
What is it?
Why do they never even talk about that when, you have people inside the organization? There's a guy named James Traub that said, the elites need to rise, and those voting for Trump and the Brexit are disillusioned, and they need to be realigned, with the globalization thing. I mean,
so what is the CFR? I mean, I've always heard about it, but it's always just seemed to be a big group of, government goons.
Well, they just released a PSA, as a matter of fact. You can get on YouTube and watch it yourself. And they even said in this PSA, once the population gets between 7 and 8 billion, they will have a solution for it. They will step in and solve the problem. So, I mean, they are part of the Agenda 2030 program that Obama signed on January 1st, 2016. They talk about zero population growth. They have ideas about, taxing people for having more than 1 or 2 children.
The people that are having more than 1 or 2 children generally are the least able to pay the tax.
Absolutely, you're right. But the point is they're talking, because of the carbon footprint. I mean, if you read about the CFR and actually read what they put on paper, it sounds like traditional conspiracy theory, but it's right there on the papers they write. I mean, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, George Soros is big on the Open Borders Initiative, and the big thing about the Brexit and people that vote for Trump, both of those, to me, are about sovereignty because he's about America first. Brexit was about Britain first, and they are big against sovereignty. They're big on the global order and integrating into business and trade and not being, able to stand for yourself.
Well, I got a problem with the idea, and look, I'm not in favor of the CFR or world government or anything like that. But in order to have freedom, then you should only have private borders. The only borders that should matter are the ones that are on your property. The idea of national borders is, as fallacious as the idea of nations. And look, I understand the idea of
national borders is where 2 nations stop fighting.
Yeah, the idea of the America First thing seems kind of silly, right? Because we're here in Keene, New Hampshire. It's where we're doing the show. But right. America extends all the way across this continent. But is somebody really going to argue that we've got more in common here in Keene, New Hampshire, which is one of the more free places? In fact, the Freedom in the 50 States study just came out this week from the Cato Institute that named New Hampshire the #1 most free place
again
in the United States. California was at number 49. New York, a very, very much lower, number 50. Like the space between California and New York was shocking. But to suggest that we've got more in common with California than we do with the folks in Vermont or even up in Montreal seems pretty ridiculous, doesn't it?
To a point, yes. But, I mean, they're wanting they're big supporters of the Open Borders Initiative with no border controls.
Well,
I'm a supporter of that.
Isn't the problem?
That's because I believe in freedom.
Isn't the problem with borders really welfare programs? You being forced to pay for other people's health care and education and all the other stuff?
Well, I don't mind helping people that need help. As long as they are, as long as they're American citizens, and they
see, I don't care where they're from. I don't mind helping people as long as I'm allowed to do it voluntarily. That's the difference between the current system that we have and what I'd like to see, where people are engaging with one another on a consensual basis. Welfare is not consensual. They're going to force you to pay for the welfare program, whether or not you agree with how it's run. And I don't agree with how the government runs their welfare programs.
Well, I think charity begins at home, and I think people would do a better job spending the money themselves.
Absolutely.
But the point is, the CFR is, it goes by a unipolar government. As the Britain Brzezinski, Henry Kissinger, that talked about, if UN came into LA today there would be riots in the streets. But if we give them a threat from the outside, that's whether real or promulgated, they will beg for us to come in and secure them. I mean,
I believe much is true. There's always got to be a boogeyman for the government to prosper.
Look what happened with 9/11.
Thanks for the call, man.
The government just jumped forward as far as the Patriot Act and TSA and all this other stuff. George Bush spent more money than, under the Bush administration, more money was spent than under the Clinton administration.
And more was spent under the Obama administration. They just keep on spending. What's that debt going to be soon? $20 trillion?
It's just about at $20 trillion. Yep. It went from, and it started at 10. It was 5 when Bush came in, 10 when Obama came in. It'll be 20 when the next president comes in. Presumably, it'll be 40 when they get out of office.
Let's go to Brooks, listening in Indiana. You're on Free Talk Live, tuned to WIBC. Hey, Brooks.
Hey, how are you doing?
Welcome, sir.
Appreciate you for taking my... Thank you.
Yes.
After listening to the most recent phone call, my mind is in a whirlwind. I don't even know where to begin.
Okay.
Because I identify myself as a libertarian. And first of all, let me start with this whole flag issue. I am a veteran of the United States Navy. And I started realizing while I was in the Navy that I was part of the industrial and military complex. And that is bothersome to me. I still love the nation's purported values. I don't think our purported values from the original founders are what we actually stand for now. I don't support my flag. I don't support my country. I support freedom.
Yes.
I don't bow down to a flag. I don't want my heart my hand on my heart and just supporting that blindly. I agree with you. Francis Bellamy was a national socialist. That being said, I wish people would not desecrate the flag, but that is their right, and I am fully in support of that.
I think it's a poor form of communication. You're not going to get your message across. It's just going to get people all whipped up. Most people are going to hate.
That said, you have burned a UN flag, Mark.
I have burned
a
UN flag. That is correct, yes.
Well, I'll burn the UN flag.
See, that's the thing is people they don't mind as long as you burn some other flags, It doesn't really matter. You just throw up some flag with 3 different color stripes up there. Yeah, let's set that thing on fire.
That's not your religion.
Nobody cares. Yeah. But when you're talking about the American flag, when it has the colors arranged properly, then it's sacrilegious and you need to die.
Right, exactly. And I don't like the feeling that it's we're all inculcated just to support the country no matter what. Because right now, I think we are a nation in duress. We probably have been for probably over 100 years, probably since 16, when Woodrow Wilson was in power. So
you can argue since the Civil War. You could probably argue points before that.
Yeah, everybody's got their point.
So I've got a son who hates Abraham Lincoln because he thinks he might have been right in spirit, but he violated the Constitution, and his points are very valid.
Oh yeah, Abraham Lincoln was a tyrant. I mean,
he was a tyrant.
He was willing to do anything it took to keep the Union
kept
together.
Slavery.
That's right. He said that. He said he would have kept slavery if that had kept the Union together. He didn't care about the slaves. Exactly. They were just a tool to keep the Union together, which is all about power. So that's all he was, just another power seeker. And Brooks, great call, man. I appreciate your points and thoughts. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's continue with James, listening in Bloomington, Indiana, to WIBC. Hey, James.
Yes, how you doing?
Welcome.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I was just calling about, everybody's up in a roar about Benghazi. Under Bush, there was 11 Benghazi and a lot more lives lost. And they talk about the 30,000 emails from Hillary, and under Cheney and Bush, before they left the White House, they erased millions of emails off their servers because they didn't want to get caught in that $12 billion transaction where the cash went to Iran.
Oh, yeah.
And then nobody knew where it was two weeks later.
James, hold that thought. I know you got more to say. Hang on. I'll bring you back here. It is funny watching conservatives dance around about the Hillary email hacks because it's only a matter of time before some conservative emails come out. I mean, those hackers are going to target all of them in Washington, D.C., and they deserve it.
They all deserve it.
Yeah, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Take control in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live coming up.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. I'll be on the ballot for president in all 50 states. If a Democrat is elected president, if a Republican is elected president, In 4 years, we will still be at war. America will be 4 years deeper in debt. We will have 4 more years of rising taxes, bigger government, crony capitalism instead of free markets, and less freedom. How do we know this? Because that's what both parties keep delivering. If you're an optimist, you know that one day America will have its act together. One day we won't be at war. One day taxes will be fair. One day our social and economic challenges will be conquered, not by force, but by cooperation and mutual respect. To the independent majority of Americans who feel as I do, I say, why wait one more day?
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-618-WAVE, 888-618-WAVE, or visit mydryhome.com. mydryhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition. We got room for you if you dial in right now, 855-450 free. We might be able to get you on in these remaining moments of Free Talk Live. But if you don't get in tonight, no worries. We've got a live Sunday edition of the show and a live everyday edition because we're here 7 days a week, live at 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time. So if you're not listening to us live, maybe you're listening on delayed broadcast on a radio station or via podcast, you can still call us during our live hours to comment on something, or you can call our audio on-demand listen line at 641-793-9660. Not only can you listen to Free Talk Live on demand, the latest episode, as well as about a dozen shows from LRN.FM, great liberty-oriented shows, you can also listen to the Liberty Radio Network, the LRN.FM live feed, on this listen line at 641-793-9660. And if you want to leave us feedback, you can do that as well. I mean, you can actually leave us a voicemail. It'll be delivered into our email boxes. Although, as we're getting more of these coming in, I'm starting to realize that, there's certain rules that I'm applying to the voicemails. If it's long, odds are we're not going to listen to it. You leave a 10-minute message, it's probably not going to get listened to by anybody.
Really, the idea is that we would play it on the air, right? And
that would be the ideal message, yes.
A segment of the show is 10 minutes. Come on.
Right, come on. So that's not going to happen. So the longer the message is, the less likely we are to even listen to it, and certainly less likely to put it on the air, even if we do. Because if we listen to a 3-minute message, whether or not it's going to get on the air, it's going to have to be really good if it's 3 minutes long. 2 minutes or less generally is going to be best. Also, for people who are chronic callers of the show, you might as well stop leaving the messages. If you're calling the show every single night, you're not going to get your message played on the air because we have a 1 call per night rule on Free Talk Live, and that's going to apply whether or not you're leaving messages. Okay, so if you're calling us every single night and then leaving messages every night as well, multiple messages or whatever, then those aren't.
And you're just crazy people.
Yeah, at this point, I'm filtering out those phone numbers, so I don't even see them. But if you're a regular listener or an irregular caller, this is perfect for you. So call up 641-793-9660 because we want to hear different voices on the air. We don't want to have the same crew of people, and this should help us make that variety happen. Make the show more of a selection of different voices. That's what I like to hear. So anyway, 641-793-9660 as we continue here with your calls and thoughts. I believe we still have James on the line in Bloomington, Indiana. Now, James, you were talking about the emails and pointing out that there's probably some naughty emails from the Republican side as well. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, yeah, and those, that's very important. I mean, for them to delete millions of emails, and then 11 Benghazis under the Bush. The Bush-Cheney administration, and nobody said one word. And here's one other thing: if Congress would have passed the infrastructure bill, just a lousy $500 billion, that would have created 17.5 million excellent jobs for the people of the United States, but they didn't want to do it because they didn't want to make this administration look good. And that's crazy. It's American people. They need to send that money out there, too. Our infrastructure is crumbling.
Let me ask you this. So I agree with you. The Benghazi thing just seems like a bunch of political posturing, partisan politics, that kind of thing. Should I vote for Democrats because Bush had more attacks on more embassies than the Democrats have?
No. I think anybody, they should vote their conscience and look at the platform. I don't care. I don't care who you vote for. Just vote.
But do you think that Hillary Clinton's an honest person?
Nobody. I mean, nobody.
Honesty is a continuum. That's certainly true. And everybody has to kind of find their point.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in the political world, there's nobody honest. Everybody's got something dirty going on.
So why vote for these people then?
Well, he's right.
What good's it going to do? I mean, if you're voting for dishonest people, what's the point of it?
I mean, we still got to run our country.
Hell with that. I say we secede. Forget about the country.
Okay. Well, that'd be interesting. I like to see that happen.
I would too. See, that's the thing. Lots of people like the idea of secession. It's just they get scared when they think about what the federal government might do about it.
That's probably the best argument for secession.
Right. Do you want the abused person to leave the abusive spouse? Yes, absolutely. But are they afraid to do so? They sure are.
I think what's sort of really messed up in this country is that it truly is two nations now. It is very polarized. And I would ask you,
absolutely,
why in the world should somebody who's a diehard Democrat sitting in San Francisco, why should they have Donald Trump forced down their throat as president?
Good question.
Why should a diehard Republican in Salt Lake City, Utah, why should they have Hillary Clinton shoved down their throat? This is just a game of who can harm who the worst. Oh, let's fill the tug of war pit full of broken glass this time. I mean, it sucks.
I'd love love to see Hillary and Trump in a pit full of broken glass.
Let them. That's a way to find out who's going to be president. Give them small shields and long knives and see who comes out on top.
I hope none of them come out. Hey, thanks for the call, James.
I got my money on Gary Johnson.
All right.
He climbed Mount Everest. He'll win that one.
That's a good point. Gary Johnson is a very, he may not be a principled libertarian, but he is a very healthy man. I mean, he's been
Hillary
in
Clinton's
decathlons.
falling down and getting into airplanes and stuff. I don't know if she's, her health is a real issue.
Gary Johnson's like a triathlon kind of athlete. I mean, that dude's a badass, and he gets high. Let's continue here. Although he claims he won't do it as the president.
Phelps.
He claims he won't do it as the president, which I don't get. But let's go on. Your calls and thoughts. Well, it's true. John in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, John.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's on your mind, dude?
Man, I'm a little worried about your open border policy. Honestly,
okay.
What's so worrying?
You got 5 minutes. Lay it on me.
Okay, good. Let's just let everybody in here and let everybody take over our country. Our country was built on certain principles, and she should stay on certain principles.
You mean like the principle of letting the poor and the unwashed masses come here yearning to be free?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, well then we want the poor unwashed masses yearning to be free to come here.
That's what you would need open borders relatively to have that happen, like this country did in the beginning days.
Countries throughout history have understood that human capital is an asset. It ceased to be an asset once welfare state came into play around the world, once entitlement programs came into play. So I say cut the welfare programs, or at least make a program where somebody who can come here and not be entitled to one penny, but they can work. What do you think about that?
I do agree with that.
Well, then
honestly,
that's what my program is.
But see, the thing is, we blew away our original hypotheses of, let people come here that want to come here and that want to love our country. Now our government is letting the people come in here who hate our country, and they want to put them on the front line, get them in first.
Well, I mean, most of the people who are coming here do want to be here because they want a better life for themselves. They're coming from places that are much less desirable, and that's why they're coming here.
Yeah, I don't
the
see
people that hate the
people being put on the front line.
Right, the people that hate the United States who might be coming here, and there aren't that many of them, and because if there were, we'd see more terrorism. Because that's the supposed scary story: is ISIS is coming in. Well, where's all the terrorism if there's all these supposed terrorists coming in here? But the reason why ISIS or anybody else might hate the United States is likely because the United States military is going over into other countries and destroying life, bombing innocent people. And
that's because they're ordered to by Washington, D.C.
That's making people mad. So again, your problem is the government is creating this.
Okay, may I say something?
Yeah.
Okay, back in World War II, we were doing the right thing, I think. Personally, okay? World War I, World War II. Now, did we belong in Iraq? Absolutely not,
Okay.
Saddam Hussein was our buffer zone between Iran and everything else, okay? And you guys, may not, feel that way, but...
No, I agree with you. The United States did not belong in Iraq. However, I would also say it did not belong in World War I, and you could argue that the U.S. involvement in World War I, by the way, Woodrow Wilson was elected promising to keep people out of the war, and then he reneged on that. But you tipped the scales at the end of World War I, and you set the stage for Hitler. That's what the United States did.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. I understand what you're saying, okay? And I kind of agree with you on some points of that, But World War II, I believe, we needed to do, okay?
It's a good-looking war, right? You got this evil guy. He's killing off an ethnic group. It looks really great. There's, of course, the other folks that are on the other side. They attacked Pearl Harbor while nobody was paying attention and all that stuff. It really looks great, but...
Except for the fact that Roosevelt, sort of ginned up the Pearl Harbor attack.
Well, take a look at the McCullough Papers if you want to do that. But
McCullough Memo, I believe it was.
Okay, McCullough Memo. But nonetheless, I'm not going to argue World War II. I think it looks pretty good, and certainly shows American bravery, and certainly shows what people are willing to sacrifice.
John, thanks for your call and thoughts tonight. We're out of time for you. You can join us tomorrow, however, for the live Sunday edition of Free Talk Live. In the meantime, you can join us online and get interactive over at freetalklive.com. All the features free, archives, and more. freetalklive.com. Enjoy your weekend.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io. The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
The live edition of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, August 20th, 2016. Silver is trading at $19.31 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,341 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $585.